Medicare Advantage plans. But who has time to call a bunch of different carriers to compare options? What if I told you it can take just one call? If you're new to Medicare, recently moved, or losing coverage, you qualify for a special enrollment period. By calling the number on your screen, you can compare rates and plans from multiple carriers. No more dialing around, no more headaches. It's fast, it's easy, and it's all done for you by a licensed insurance agent. You could get the coverage you want at a rate that fits your budget. It won't take more than a few minutes of your day, saving time, and it may save you money.
I'm new to Medicare, so I called to make sure I understood plans and benefits available in my area.
I just became eligible for Medicare, so I called to find a plan that fits my budget.
I'm on Medicare and recently moved, so I called to make sure to find a plan in my new community.
One call to compare options from multiple carriers.
For a free no-obligation consultation, call 800-549-9841.
Imagine the peace of mind you'll have knowing that you've explored your options and chosen the right plan for you. No more second-guessing whether you could have found better coverage. Whether you're looking to reduce the cost of your plan, add benefits, or simply ensure your current doctors are still covered, this one call can make all the difference. Don't risk missing out on Medicare Advantage plans with important additional benefits. Call the Benefits Network to speak to a licensed insurance agent about Medicare Advantage plans and compare rates from national carriers.
I'm on Medicare and recently moved, so I called to make sure to find a plan in my new community.
I just became eligible for Medicare, so I called to find a plan that fits my budget.
One call to compare options from multiple carriers. It's your health, your peace of mind, and your time. Make the most of it today.
For a free no-obligation consultation, call 800-549-9841. That's 800-549-9841.
Krisha, just maybe, John Burnett will get a TikTok account.
Oh,
as soon as it's under the auspices of an American company, American investment, and American ingenuity.
I am hesitant to still get TikTok, but I agree. I'm more inclined to do so now that it's under U.S. ownership and that joint venture between Oracle and Silver Lake coming out and taking, control over the data. Although China still has a lot of control over the previous data that we've seen, and they have influence with respect to the information they're releasing out on TikTok. So I'm hesitant,
but
more inclined.
We have control of the data.
Right.
So I'm more inclined to actually see what TikTok is all about.
Yeah.
And possibly use it for my small business and other things, because there's a lot of small businesses that actually use TikTok strategically to boost their revenues and customer and consumer engagement. So it's working for a lot of.
You're watching theDove TV, encouraging and informative for San Francisco and the Bay Area. Seen on KURK3 and these Dove TV affiliates.
Well, good morning to you. Welcome to the Jerry Bilden Hour.
Yeah, good morning.
Of comment and virtue. Right here, ladies and gentlemen. Live on this stage, Jerry Bilden.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. Beautiful weather. Gosh, it's just gorgeous out there. And happy... Well, it's Thursday, and I don't know. Maybe I'm going through something. Maybe I need counseling or something.
Okay.
Maybe I need pills.
Write the doctors in. What's going on?
Maybe I need pills or something.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row, I got Wednesday mixed up.
Yeah, remember Linus and Lucy? Lucy would have the sign up, 5 cents, the doctor is in.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Lay it out, dude. It's only a nickel.
Is it? Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe I'm having some kind of a...
Maybe we're having a midlife crisis.
Well, that would have been 30 years ago.
Well,
that would have been 30 years ago.
Wait a minute. I'm enthusiastic and optimistic about how long you're going to live.
Thank you. If it's a midlife, it's my second one.
There you go.
No, I just, I woke up this morning. I go, well, here we go, Wednesday. No, it's Thursday.
No, it's Thursday.
Well, what happened? I think what it is, you get so busy during the day doing things, you just kind of lose track.
Yeah.
So I was writing a letter the other day.
Okay.
I have to do these, and I got to be careful because you end up writing the way you talk.
Yeah, right.
Okay, which is pretty common. But when I got done writing this letter, you could actually see where I got interrupted.
No kidding. Oh, really?
Because I had so many interruptions. Phone calls, somebody coming by, you got a second, what's about this, da-da-da. And all of a sudden, I'm reading my own letter, and I go, well, how did I go from here to there? Change of thought, and that's
Right.
where I got interrupted.
Here's what
I got interrupted.
I love that because you mentioned you wrote or you write like you talk.
Yeah.
And that brings to mind voice texting. Have you ever done this? And this has happened to me many, many times. I'm voice texting something, and all of a sudden, Pam wants to interject with something and start talking to me. And she'll start talking, and I'll pause and I'll look, and there's my message. It stopped where the interruption came, and there's verbatim everything that she just said in my text now.
I know.
I'm like, wait a minute, no.
Life is so full of interruptions, you can't even,
Oh, I know.
So anyway, that's my complaint for the morning. We'll go up from there. Anyway, happy Thursday, better known as Friday Eve. I think tomorrow, Mr. Bilden, I'm just giving you a little bit of a heads up.
Okay.
We'll be moving to our temporary set.
You're kidding me.
Which means we're just kind of moving things around a little bit. We'll kind of be over there a little bit.
Okay.
Why these walls over here get torn out.
What's a little bit?
You'll see it.
Okay. You said we'll be over there for a little bit.
Oh, for a little bit.
Yeah, how long is a little bit?
Well, I'm hoping...
Oh, let's see, I'm doing this on the air too, aren't I?
Week and a half.
Okay.
If everything goes right.
We're flexible.
And everything is not going right.
Right. we're flexible, like uncooked spaghetti. It's okay.
I love construction I love doing it and everything. And I love it when you start, and I love it when it's done. But boy, the stuff in between, just about.
You know what I'm going to do?
It just about puts you under.
I'm going to come walking through here in a hard hat.
Yeah.
I'll look around and I'm going to go, oh, by the way.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about these overruns.
They're there.
I'm sorry.
They're there. They're there, yeah. So we may have to do the show tomorrow on hard hats.
Okay. Is it possible to avoid them, really, when you think about it these days? Especially with what you've been dealing with the economy as it is, with tariffs and all the things. You would think it's totally unavoidable.
I talking to Bud Amundsen. He runs U71.5. Great guy. And he's been through so many building projects. And I said, Bud, did God call you to be a contractor or to head up a youth ministry? His eyes just rolled, I said, okay, well, that's kind of what I'm experiencing.
I bet. Well.
Anyway, and I've used to climb towers, change light bulbs on towers. I've done all that stuff when I was really young and dumb. Now I'm older and dumber. Anyway, good morning to you. What's going on?
All right. Well, it is National Daughters Day.
Oh.
And of course, daughters bring a certain kind of joy into our world. Like all children, they have their own personalities and strengths. And I know at firsthand, I have one daughter, very, very blessed with one daughter. She was the kind of daughter that you didn't even have to think about any corrective measures with her. Let's talk about spanking.
Well,
spanking. Is spanking still allowed?
Sure, why not?
Okay, because I spanked my boys.
Yeah.
Never ever spanked my daughter. Not one time. I would have one word of criticism and she would break into tears because it broke her heart that she disappointed us. And I thought, what else can I do, Lord? So anyway, enjoy your daughters. It's a wonderful blessing in our lives.
Good luck, Blake.
She's yours now.
Good luck, Blake. Have a nice day.
And by the way, Blake, you got two daughters too on top of it.
Yeah, good luck, Blake. Have a nice day.
It is National Tune-Up Day, reminding homeowners to prepare for the winter heating season.
Yeah.
A heating system tune-up saves energy and reduces heating costs, plus keeps you and your family safe during the winter months. And we went through a complete tune-up earlier this summer because our whole HVAC system went out.
Ooh.
But we were rescued by some of the best in the business. I'm telling you, and they're a good sponsor on this station.
Good.
Also, National Comic Book Day. You remember the days when you read comic books like voraciously?
Yep.
I love it. You know, with the dialogue bubbles over it. You know, what a medium that is. It started off as comic strips and then developed into full-blown comic books, or as some call them, comic magazines.
Yeah.
But are they still making them?
You know, I don't
know. I haven't seen.
It's interesting. I get Flying magazine still.
Yeah.
And one of them has, about twice a year, they put an insert of a comic version for young people.
Oh.
And it's all about flying, but it's all done in a comic thing. And I look and I go, this is really cool.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which, by the way, reminds me that the Jackson, the Civil Air Patrol is having their open house Saturday, so go to that.
Okay.
All right, so much for that.
It's also National One Hit Wonder Day. You know those songs that a band comes out, they're just on top of the world, they got a big hit going on, and then poof, they're
like your worship team, right?
You never. Hey man, we're on a 25-year run.
Well, you're still looking for the hit.
Yeah, we. You got that right. So, can you think of any one-hit wonders that come to mind? I mean, you out there may be thinking of one. Earth Angel. How about 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight?
Oh, yeah.
That's Dave Dudley. That one time, 63. How about House of the Rising Sun by Frasier?
God.
There is
Boy,
a house.
Boy, you're good at it.
Well, you remember that comedian? Amazing Grace.
Yeah, yeah.
How sweet the sound.
Yeah,
that saved a wretch like me. Okay. All right. And then, of course, son, you're going to drive me to drinking if you don't stop driving that hot rod Lincoln.
Hot rod Lincoln. Boy, that's hating you.
Yeah, baby. All right. It's also National Quesadilla Day. Typically made with a corn tortilla and filled with cheese. We heat quesadillas until the cheese melts. Then it hits the grill or fryer until just crispy. Some people also include other fillings such as cooked sausage, chicken, pork, or beef. And don't forget the toppings. You can use fresh tomatoes, salsa, herbs, sour cream, guacamole, or chilies. Bring a whole other level of flavor to your quesadilla. And you know, quesadillas come in a lot of forms. You got to be careful because if you put too much stuff on there, it turns into a taco.
Well, yeah, but it's the easiest way to keep a kid happy.
It really is, and, you know, and some husbands.
And some husbands, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also National Lobster Day. You can put lobster on your quesadilla, I think. But the simplest way to enjoy lobster is, wait a minute, we're not ready for that guy yet. Hold on. Is boiled and then dipped in melted butter.
Yeah.
And a couple favorite lobster recipes also include lobster Newburgh and lobster Thermidor. It's also the main ingredient in soup, bisque, lobster rolls, and salads. And of course, at one time, lobster was poor man's food.
Yes.
It was fed to prisoners and livestock.
Right.
Can you imagine?
Wow.
What a diet. All right.
Lobster raviolis with a lemon sauce.
Yes, yes.
I mean, it is like, baby.
All right. Well, they are crustaceans that live at the bottom of the ocean, and if they avoid the lobster pot, they can live up to 100 years old. Even though we consider them a delicacy, obviously they were poor man's food. So here's our fun fact. Okay, so lobsters are reported to live up to 100 years old. But what is the world record for the oldest lobster?
I don't know.
Well, it is believed to have been caught off the coast of Maine in 2017. It's estimated to be between 140 and 150 years old. We're looking at it right now. This lobster weighed around 27 pounds and was donated to the Maine State Aquarium, where it was confirmed to be the oldest lobster ever.
Really?
Yes, indeed.
Well, I mean, the oldest lobster caught ever.
There you go.
Yeah. Look at the size of that
Oh,
thing.
that thing. Can you imagine how tasty that could be?
Well, I don't know. He's old.
I don't know. That's a good point.
It could be a little rubbery.
It could be a little rubbery. He doesn't have to worry about it because he's protected in an aquarium. So anyway, so if you got a chance to eat some lobster today, enjoy.
Okay. Speaking of old and rubbery, he does the weather here.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. with temperatures moving down today in northern Oregon and southern Washington. Sunny skies with daytime highs in the low 70s for Vancouver and Portland and mid-70s around Wilsonville and McMinnville with a light northwest wind. Continuing down the Willamette Valley, sunny with daytime high temperatures in the mid-70s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene, with a north wind 7 to 9 miles per hour this morning. Sunny skies across the central Oregon high desert today with daytime high temperatures near 85 in Prineville and low 80s for Bend and Sun River. Another nice day in Boise, Idaho, sunny with a high in the mid-80s. Sunny and breezy along the Oregon coast with daytime highs in the mid-60s for Coos Bay and Port Orford and near 62 in Brookings. Patchy fog in Crescent City, California, then mostly sunny and breezy in mid-60s. In southern Oregon, sunny and breezy for the Rogue Valley with daytime highs in the mid to upper 80s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland. Sunny in the Klamath Basin with highs in the mid-80s and lows in the mid-40s. Into northern California, sunny in Wairika with a high near 87, a high of 93 in Redding under sunny skies. Mostly sunny in Chico with a high near 88, and Sacramento with a high near 87 and a light southwest wind. In the Bay Area, early patchy fog, then sunny in upper 70s in Santa Rosa. Gradual clearing in Napa with a high near 80. Mostly sunny in San Francisco with a high in the low 70s. And today in San Jose, mostly sunny and low 80s. A snapshot of your Thursday weather from Grange Co-op.
Okay, a beautiful shot of our morning sunrise that hasn't happened yet.
Yes.
Looking to the northeast a little bit there, Mount McLaughlin, way out there.
A little Venus on top, up to the right.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
Beautiful sight. Okay, well, you're waking up and you may be thinking about some of the things that you have to do today. But have you given much thought to what you're living for today? Well, here with some great encouragement is Dr. Anthony George.
Well, a lady in my last church says she was so scared of waking up dead. So I don't think that's possible, but you know what? If you didn't wake up dead this morning, the point is God's got you here. You know what I'm saying? So let me ask you a question. When you wake up, I heard a preacher say, do you say, good morning, Lord, or do you say, good Lord, it's morning? You need to say, good morning, Lord. Another day of life. My life doesn't look like I thought it would look at this stage. My world has not been ordered in the way that I had pre-planned it. Everything seems to be constantly in a state of flux, but I'm going to slide my feet over out of this bed, put one foot down, then the other foot down. I'm going to stand up and say, thank you, God. This is another day. I'm going to live for you. I'm going to live for you.
Yep. Well, there you go. Are you? That's the question. Are you going to live for the Lord today? All right, good stuff for you. 14 minutes past the hour, a little bit past the hour this morning. And let's see, did we do the, well, yeah, we did. Okay. See, my Wednesday.
Yeah, and you know what the bottom line is? Temperatures just starting to go about 10 degrees down today. It's going to start feeling a little bit more like fall.
Yeah, well, if it's barometric pressure is having problems with my head. All right, well, yesterday was a sad day. There was another shooting there in Dallas, Texas, ICE facility there in Dallas, Texas. It was one was dead and two others critically injured. And the rhetoric behind this is amazing. I don't know where we're going to go from here. The ICE is carrying out federal laws. Now, let me just ask you a fundamental question, without all the political stuff that gets involved and all the stuff that gets involved in this. ICE is there to carry out and to enforce federal law. Why do we have a problem with that?
Because they've been demonized by the left and by the water-carrying, news wing of the left, which is legacy media.
Okay. So, but fundamentally, they're doing their job.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you got people that are now killing them.
Right.
And so, finally, Senator Ted Cruz steps in and he said, enough is enough. And here's what he had to say.
This needs to stop. Violence is wrong. Politically motivated violence is wrong. It was 2 weeks ago today that we saw a political assassination in Utah that tore the heart out of much of this country. This is the third shooting in Texas directed at ICE or CBP. This must stop. To every politician who is using rhetoric demonizing ICE and demonizing CBP, stop. To every politician demanding that ICE agents be doxxed and calling for people to go after their families, stop. This has very real consequences. Look, in America, we disagree, that's fine, that's the democratic process. But your political opponents are not Nazis. We need to learn to work together without demonizing each other, without attacking each other. And I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to the brave men and women of law enforcement. I want to say thank you to the brave men and women of ICE and CBP and everyone who puts their lives on the line to keep us safe.
Okay, it has to stop, and it's not stopping. Gavin Newsom is out now sowing seeds of discord, saying that basically President Trump will use ICE to nullify the 28 election.
Oh, come on. Really?
And he's actually on late-night shows. Now, we know that Governor Newsom is running for president.
Right.
And in running for president, he's trying to run away from his job in California, which is a mess.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can't go on there and say, well, now the president's going to use ICE to nullify it. I mean, that incites this kind of stuff, especially with radical people. Well, in the meantime, Joshua Johnson, he's the acting director of ICE for the Dallas area. Here's what he had to say.
This is the second time I've had to stand in front of you and talk about a shooter at one of my facilities. And I think that the takeaway from all of this is that the rhetoric has to stop. There are people out there who are seeing what is being placed online, and they're coming and they're doing acts of violence against ICE employees. So that's kind of all I have for today, is that it's just got to stop. It's dangerous, and people are losing their lives.
Yeah.
How about, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, how about the pattern that's developing here? Rooftop shooter, that's the case here. Rooftop shooter 2 weeks ago, rooftop shooter in Butler. A message on a bullet, anti-ICE. In a sense, it's a copycat, as a kind of a development, and again, perpetrated by the left against what they don't like on the right. So, is this a pattern?
Clearly.
Yeah.
And I think that, there are a couple of other things. We need to track down who is radicalizing these people or paying for the radicalization of these people to do this. There is a clear pattern.
Is it just the news media? I mean, we see this, as they mentioned here, demonizing ICE. We see over and over, I'm seeing videos of protesters confronting ICE in front of facilities and getting right up in their face and then having to be removed. The confrontations seem to be becoming more and more frequent.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, I think if you can keep the emotions calmed down on this, think about this. Who's doing it? I mean, it's the people on the left are doing this.
Right.
And Governor Newsom was out running around yesterday demanding that ICE no longer wear any mask.
I know, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Well, once you demand the protesters not to have a mask,
well, no,
how about
no.
Antifa not having a mask?
Wait a minute. Antifa doesn't exist.
Oh, well,
in their eyes.
Yeah.
No, it's just an idea. It's not really anything other than an idea.
So I guess what we have here is, remember this, folks, and I think it'll help you kind of get through the day, and if you can kind of keep your calmness about it.
Okay.
The Democrats get an A++++++ for blaming you for what they do.
Yep.
And once you understand that, you'll be able to digest it a little bit better and realize the hypocrisy of it. All right, the other one is the government is heading for a shutdown, and now we have this political partisan battle, who's going to get responsible for it. But there was a little bit of a checkmate on this. As you know, the House, I interviewed Congressman Bench yesterday, and we'll air that for you coming up. But we talked about the shutdown, and the continuing resolution is, if they can get this up through about November 25th or something like that, they're going to be able to put forth the budget the way the president really wants it. And yes, there'll be cuts, but there'll be some expansions. And, of course, the Medicare, Medicaid thing and the people who are on it shouldn't be on it. All that will be adjusted out. So they're basically asking for 45 days extension, and it's going to go through the House and get to the Senate. And the Senate has to have 60 votes, okay? And they don't have 60 Republicans in the House, so that means some Democrats have to do it. So here we are again, Schumer saying the Republicans are going to shut it down. The same old battle. We've been to this stupid thing so many times.
Yeah. Yep.
So what do you do to checkmate it?
Yeah, I don't know.
So the president says yesterday, the White House comes out for the budget office and tells all of the federal agencies, get ready to do massive permanent layoffs.
Yes.
Okay?
Right.
Now, this is going to get hung on Chuck Schumer's beak. So if people lose their job, they're going to try to blame it on the Democrat or on the Republicans, when in fact it will be Schumer that can't go along with a 45-day CR to fix the budget. And so he said, all right, this is another excuse to reduce the size of government.
Yeah.
So here we go, and we know where this is going to go, folks. We've been down this road so many times. The left media is going to say this, the right media is going to say that. You know, this is when you just, you know, the world will not come to an end.
Right, good point.
I wouldn't be surprised if President Trump stands up and says, shut her down.
Yeah, let it shut down, right.
All right, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, she's been under a little pressure lately. She's kind of like, you know, the president's a little hot on her.
Yeah.
Come on, get these guys.
Oh, yeah. And
well, in the meantime, she announced the guilty plea of former cartel boss El Mayo, got him. And then in the meantime, 8 federal inmates, I should say, once on death row for murder, have been transferred now to one of the hardest prisons in the United States in Colorado. They call it Supermax Prison in Colorado.
Right.
These are people that committed murder, even committed murder while in prison, that were given their sentences were communed by President Biden by what they call the Hail Mary auto pin.
Right. Yeah.
And so now all of this is under question, but they're not getting out. They're being transferred to the worst place on earth for people like this. This is really something. My question is, why weren't they there in the first place?
Yeah.
The other question is, I realize she's got to show some strength there, but she's under a lot of pressure.
We're seeing some of the folks that are in there. Yeah.
She's under a lot of pressure to go after Swift.
Yeah.
By the way, Comey is they're expecting an indictment on him any day now.
I'm glad you brought that up. In fact, excuse me, it could come today.
Yes.
And they have to have it by next week. You know why? Because the statute of limitation runs out. So they have to. It's got to come before next week. So we'll see how this plays out.
And Swift's on that list.
Oh, okay.
It's not Swift. Schiff. Adam Schiff. I'm sorry, Adam Schiff.
Yeah.
He's on that list. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But I understand the president saying go after these guys, but the media is saying, well, this is retaliation. Okay. I can't say that it is or it isn't, but I can say that these people are guilty of perjury, among other things.
Right.
And so you've got to deal with this. And by the way, put the shoe on the other foot. What would be happening?
Oh my goodness! It would have already maybe happened.
So remember, this is what makes your morning croissant taste better.
That's right. Yes.
They're blaming you for what they're doing. So do you see the hypocrisy in that?
Yeah.
Just laugh at it and have a good day, which is kind of what I'm going to do right now. We'll be right back.
Grange Co-op, where big ideas grow. Black Flag Armory offers top brand affordable rifles, shotguns, handguns, and gear. We also offer an array of classes emphasizing safety, self-defense, and accuracy. We strive to provide the absolute best possible experience when buying a firearm. Family friendly for every skill level. Black Flag Armory in Midford and Grants Pass. Online at blackflagarms.com or 541-499-0779. 541-499-0779.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Baptism is merely a symbol of the spiritual reality. It declares what happens spiritually when we embrace Christ. When I go under the water, I identify with his death and with his burial. Because my friend, in God's eyes, it was me hanging on the cross. Jesus Christ died as my representative. He died as your representative. And when we go under the waters of baptism, I am fully identifying with his death and burial. Coming out of the water, I identify with his resurrection. He came up out of the grave, he received a new life, and death no longer has a hold on him. And my friend, when I embraced Jesus Christ, I came up out of the grave of sin, and sin no longer has a hold on me.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
How y'all doing out there? Just a couple quick things here. Got to get all my notes straight and out. Oh, here it is. Don't forget, if you're an aviation enthusiast in our backyard, the Civil Air Patrol hangar here at the Jackson County Airport will have an open house on Saturday, 11 to 3.
No.
Go out there and support them.
All right.
All right. Whatever happened to the special session in Oregon?
Yeah, that's a great question. What?
Still underway.
Is it really?
And the Republicans, God bless them, they're doing the right thing here. The Senate Republicans, now, by the way, they've had a leadership change there, and our good friend Senator Starr is now heading up the pack there. They unveiled an interactive map detailing over 5,000 pieces of written testimony submitted to the Oregon legislature on the governor's proposed $4.3 billion transportation tax hike, and the map, which organizes testimony by city, vividly illustrates the opposition spans from urban, suburban to rural areas, saying to the governor, stop this nonsense. Now, if the legislature goes ahead and does this, because obviously you have a supermajority here, then I think that Governor Tina Kotek will be a one-term governor.
Oh, good prediction.
Now, look at this map, would you, just for a moment? Yeah. Something we haven't seen in a while.
What?
Look at the very top of the state.
Yeah.
Look at all the red in a blue area.
Right.
So even up in the Portland area has saying no to taxes.
Interesting.
Okay?
All right.
So the only thing I can say to Senator Starr and others, thank you guys, and stay at it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. They're under the rules of a special legislature, which they get all this per diem, and they're saying, take your per diem and give it to, nonprofit organizations.
Right, yeah.
Okay, you can give it to the Dove. We'll spend it.
Okay.
But the point being is that this isn't going anywhere. And if they pass, look, gosh, I got to get control of this, because these people don't know what it is to run a business.
Right.
It's as simple as that. They're running business out of the state.
Yep.
Okay. We were $350 million short of saving 500 jobs. That's what the rainy day fund's for.
Yeah.
Fund it.
Yeah.
And then put this agency under an audit.
Yeah.
And then fix the problem. But to come up with a 10-year, $4.3 billion tax hike on the back of Oregonians and doubling payroll tax.
How long will
How folks, you need to call your legislators. This is why you vote for these people.
Yeah, right.
And say no. And I have a country term I could put here, but I'll leave it. I won't say it.
Okay, all right.
But it really irritates me that something that is so stinking obvious that they're doing this.
How long have we been in special session?
Well, I don't know.
A couple weeks
now.
Oh, yeah. So what's taking so long? What's the point? What are they doing?
Well, she wants $4.3 million.
Yeah, and they're not giving it to her.
And this didn't get out of the normal session, which tells me that even the Democrats are feeling the heat from their constituents.
What are they doing every day?
Yeah.
What's the process there? If she's not getting it,
well, they're having fancy little coffees down on the river while they're waiting to see how they're going to call for the vote. Good. And they can't call for the vote because one of the Democratic senators that they need to pass this is in the hospital. If they pass this with this map out there, it just tells you how tone deaf the Democrats are in this state.
Yeah, right.
And the only thing I can say, folks, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done talking about it. All right, so much for that. Let's take a look at the satellite image. Say something and get me out of here.
Look at, there's something approaching the top of the coast.
Yeah.
Mostly up
next week, though.
Yeah, Canada way, but for us, we're looking at mid 80s today, low 80s tomorrow, and then we're going to stay in the 80s until Sunday, dipping down in the 70s. And then, are you ready for some rain? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And we're looking at mid 60s. So the change is coming our way. Some changes also in the government looking at social media and imposing censorship rules on us, as Babylon Bee CEO Seth Dillon discusses Google's admission of censoring accounts on YouTube and the fallout on Fox Business's The Bottom Line.
Well, first, I just have to laugh at the comment about how they care about conservative voices. Really? Like, I was smiling and laughing before you brought me on. Well, the Bee has faced censorship from a number of platforms, usually over the issue of misinformation, but then it transitioned into something with hate speech, jokes that you're not supposed to tell. My biggest concern with what was happening was the fact that this was the Biden administration that through back channels was pressuring these platforms. It's one thing if the platforms themselves take down content they don't like based on their own terms of service. We can have a whole discussion about whether or not they should have the right to do that, whether or not these large scale platforms for public discourse should be free for open discourse without them having the kind of control over our speech that they have. We can have that debate, but there is no debate when it comes to government coercion through the back door. They can't constitutionally do that through third parties. It's as if the government is censoring you themselves when they do that. So this was a First Amendment issue, and I don't think that it's enough for YouTube to just put people back on after all these years of losing all that revenue and all that reach. Now, is COVID-19 even a topic we need to be debating? We needed to be debating it at the time.
You know what's so interesting about this? Everybody that's had an ulterior motive against what America fundamentally is getting exposed.
Yeah.
Google is exposed.
Right.
Facebook is exposed.
Yes.
You can go on down the line. MSNBC is exposed.
You bet.
CNN is exposed.
Right.
ABC is exposed. CBS is exposed. So something greater than us is happening here.
Yeah. And
maybe God still loves us.
Isn't it interesting, though, too? We know the censorship that went on. You know what happened with your YouTube account, our YouTube account. We look at all these issues, and now the left is up in arms about First Amendment rights because of Jimmy Kimmel. Are they ignoring everything that has gone on coming up to this point, including some of the other TV, personalities who've been canceled because of their conservative political views? I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Again, they blame you for what they're doing.
Yeah.
Remember this. Mark my words. Jimmy Kimmel will be gone.
Okay.
Again.
Okay. All right.
It's just a matter of time.
Okay.
He'll always be around.
Yeah.
When I'm pushing up daisies, he'll still be here. We'll be right back.
The threat of wildfire poses a growing risk to Oregonians. You can prepare now by taking 3 important steps. Create a home inventory, make copies of important financial records, and contact your insurance company to make sure you have the right amounts and types of home insurance coverage. Be wildfire ready by being insurance ready. Visit dfr.oregon.gov/prepare now to learn how.
At Kelly's Automotive Service,
being good stewards of what God has entrusted to us
is at the core of our business.
We believe what we do matters.
Every interaction, every transaction is another opportunity
to bring Christ's values into the marketplace.
If you're a technician who wants to be part of something bigger,
Or just looking for a new shop to bring your vehicle.
We would love to meet you.
We're Kelly's Automotive Service,
where we service your vehicle,
But take care of you.
Co-op, where big ideas grow.
Clean water is essential to your good health. Ultra Pure Purified Water has been delivering purified, healthy drinking water to the Rogue Valley since 1995. Locally owned and family run, Ultra Pure Purified Water uses a multi-stage process ensuring your delivery of water is 99.8% pure, so your family stays hydrated and healthy. Online at ultrapurewaterinc.com or call 541-734-0828. 541-734-0828.
Okay, I've calmed down. Everything's fine.
Okay.
I don't know why. Anyway, good morning to you. 23 minutes before the hour. Well, guess what? Things continue to heat up in the Middle East, so let's check in with CBN Newswatch and get caught up.
This is CBN Newswatch.
On this Thursday, the 25th of September, we're going to begin in Israel's ongoing political and diplomatic battle against the establishment of a Palestinian state, as Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu arrives in the United States to take on that issue at the United Nations tomorrow. And back in Israel, a Houthi drone injured more than 20 people in the Israeli resort town of Eilat yesterday. Israel's defense minister is promising a devastating response. CBN Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell, he's bringing us the story now, reporting from Jerusalem.
The drone, videotaped from multiple angles on social media, slipped through Israeli defenses and left at least 22 people wounded, 2 seriously. Defense Minister Israel Katz said the Houthi terrorists refused to learn from Iran, Lebanon, and Gaza and will learn the hard way. Whoever harms Israel will be harmed sevenfold. Before leaving for New York to address the UN General Assembly, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu delivered a message to the people of Israel and denounced those calling for a Palestinian state.
At the UN General Assembly, I will speak our truth, the citizens of Israel, the truth of the IDF soldiers of our country. I will denounce those leaders who, instead of denouncing the murderers, rapists, and child burners, want to give them a state in the heart of the land of Israel. This will not happen.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio told CBS News that the declaration stopped the ceasefire hostage negotiations.
The impact it has had is it actually derailed, it made talks that were going on, it made it even harder to get Hamas to enter into concessions that might have brought this to an end. And look, we think there's a window of opportunity right now to pursue it.
After President Trump's speech at the UN on Tuesday, he met with a number of Arab and Muslim leaders and presented a comprehensive plan to end the war in Gaza. It calls for an immediate ceasefire, the release of all hostages, a gradual Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, and a role for Arab and Muslim countries in the region to administer Gaza during a post-war transition period. Reportedly, President Trump also said he would stop Israel from declaring sovereignty over the biblical heartland of Judea and Samaria. Oren Seliger of the Yessa Council, a group representing communities in Judea and Samaria, told CBN News that declaring sovereignty is a way to stop a Palestinian state.
We have to basically end that dream and end that fantasy. The way to do that is to make it clear that we are here and we are here to stay. We do that by declaring sovereignty on Judea and Samaria.
Now all eyes are on Netanyahu's speech on Friday and a planned meeting between President Trump and Netanyahu at the White House on Monday.
And Chris Mitchell joins us now. So, Chris, both Israel and the U.S. are firmly opposed to a Palestinian state, and it seems unlikely it will happen. So why are so many countries still pushing for this?
Well, Ephraim, I think a couple of reasons. First of all, external diplomatic pressure from other countries and also internal public pressure. Pro-Hamas and pro-Palestinian protests have had an impact, I think, especially in the UK, with literally hundreds of thousands of pro-Palestinian and pro-Hamas demonstrators out in the streets. Images of devastation in Gaza have really had a hard thing, public image against Israel and for the Palestinians, even though many people believe the destruction wouldn't be there if Hamas had surrendered, if it would end the war and release all the hostages. It also gives the Palestinian Authority a stronger claims in international law with these declarations of a Palestinian state. And many people still have faith in what's called the two-state solution. It seems logical or fair for two states, as the mantra goes, living side by side in safety and security. But others against the two-state solution said that's been tried for nearly 80 years since the partition plan, the UN partition plan in 1947, also the Oslo Accords that began in 1993, and don't believe that if it hasn't worked in decades, will it work now?
Israel's foreign minister says Israel will not annex parts of the West Bank now under the control of the Palestinian Authority. And President Trump reportedly told Arab leaders this week he will try to stop it. What's likely to happen?
Well, Gideon Sar in an interview recently said there's really no intention of discussing annexation of Palestinian Authority territories because they don't want to control the Palestinians in their controls in areas where the Palestinian Authority has control. The Judea and Samaria, as people call the West Bank, has been divided up into three sections, A, B, and C. So A is controlled mainly by the Palestinian Authority, B is joint control, and C is Israeli control. And so what he says, Gideon Sar says, what can be discussed is implementing Israeli law on Israeli communities where they are not under Palestinian Authority control. So these are discussions that will likely take place once Prime Minister Netanyahu returns from Washington after his talks with President Trump, and what can be done into these circumstances between Israel, Jerusalem, and Washington.
All right, there you go. This two-state thing, it always comes up. You know,
Yeah,
I don't know. Gosh, I think what they said there, so they've been trying it for 80 years.
Right.
You got to remember, Gaza was the ultimate two-state trial.
Amen. It was.
And it blew up.
And it blew up,
Yeah,
right.
so-
And they're blaming the wrong side.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so here's Twinkle Toes doing the weather.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. With temperatures moving down today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with daytime highs in the low 70s for Vancouver and Portland and mid-70s around Wilsonville and McMinnville with a light northwest wind. Continuing down the Willamette Valley, sunny with daytime high temperatures in the mid-70s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene, with a north wind 7 to 9 miles per hour this morning. Sunny skies across the central Oregon high desert today with daytime high temperatures near 85 in Prineville and low 80s for Bend and Sun River. Another nice day in Boise, Idaho, sunny with a high in the mid-80s. Sunny and breezy along the Oregon coast with daytime highs in the mid-60s for Coos Bay and Port Orford and near 62 in Brookings. Patchy fog in Crescent City, California, then mostly sunny and breezy in mid-60s. In southern Oregon, sunny and breezy for the Rogue Valley with daytime highs in the mid to upper 80s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland. Sunny in the Klamath Basin with highs in the mid-80s and lows in the mid-40s. Into northern California, sunny in Wairika with a high near 87, a high of 93 in Redding under sunny skies. Mostly sunny in Chico with a high near 88, and Sacramento with a high near 87 and a light southwest wind. In the Bay Area, early patchy fog, then sunny in upper 70s in Santa Rosa. Gradual clearing in Napa with a high near 80. Mostly sunny in San Francisco with a high in the low 70s. And today in San Jose, mostly sunny and low 80s. A snapshot of your Thursday weather from Grange Co-op.
And good morning. A little bit of not quite sunrise yet. Seems to be a little haze out there.
It does, yeah.
So that's the shot looking about, that's northwest.
Okay.
So there we go.
Well, we are still in the heat and the exciting part of the baseball season. And looking at that, this park is the home for one baseball team that has a long history, but it is one of the most unusual ballparks of them all.
On September 25, 1911, groundbreaking began for a ballpark that would become one of baseball's most beloved shrines, Fenway Park in Boston. Built on a quirky, irregular plot of land, its outfield dimensions are anything but ordinary. The most famous feature? The towering 37-foot-high left field wall, better known as the Green Monster, which turned routine fly balls into doubles and sometimes heartbreak. Fenway officially opened the next spring in April of 1912, and more than a century later, it's still the home of the Boston Red Sox. With its hand-operated scoreboard, quirky angles, and history-packed stands, Fenway Park remains not just a ballpark, but a living museum of the game, the oldest Major League Baseball park still in use today.
There you go. And we're just trying to make sure that it's not in use for postseason play this year. Because we want to eliminate those dreaded Boston Red Sox.
Come on.
But they have a great hit. But you know what? They're doing a great thing because they're playing the American League East leading Toronto Blue Jays, and they're beating the pants off them as the Yankees keep winning. The Yankees tied them. We have a tie for first place in the American League East right now, and we're just coming down to the end of the season, so it's neck and neck. It could be hardly more exciting than it is right now.
You know, I thought things were tough in politics, but when you're booing the Red Sox, that's a bad day.
I'm telling you, what a rivalry between the Red Sox and the Yankees. There's nothing more intense.
Yeah.
I know people who drove from New York to Boston when the Yankees were playing in Boston. This was years ago, and they drove to see the Yankees play in Boston. They pulled into a gas station in Boston. The gas station attendant looked at their license plate from New York and said, "Move on, buddy. We're not selling you any gas."
Really?
Yeah. Whoa. That's how intense it is.
Whoa. All right.
Okay.
Good stuff. Well, we love Samaritan Spurs. Can't say enough about what they do. But here's just a little bit of a finished project that they done where they presented a family who survived Hurricane Helene with a new home.
Samaritan Spurs is replacing 7 homes of families in this park. And the one right behind me is a mom with her 4 kids. And this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home that is not going to be their forever home.
Hurricane happened early morning. It was like 5 in the morning. The creek starts coming out, and we noticed that our home was on top of my neighbors here. It fell off the bricks, and that's when I noticed I didn't have a home anymore.
Part of our ceremony when we do the dedication is we have a little placard that we present to them. It says, "Paid in full."
It's our pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
I don't have the words. Thank you to everybody who made it possible. All you guys' hard work. I was just thank you guys.
The crowning jewel of this is seeing the family walk into the home for the first time and just see that sense of relief that has come over them because now they have a home again.
It's a great feeling. It's amazing. It's a blessing. There's people that think, God doesn't exist, and, I think He does. I believe He does. It's impressive how people could do all these things out of, no charge. You don't have to pay for anything. There's people that I worried about it. I was like, what about my home? What am I going to do now? How much do I got to spend on all of this? And, not one dime. Not one dime.
Just like God paid for our sins in full, we can now say that God paid for this home in full for this family.
A big, huge thank you to Samaritan Spurs. Everyone who made it possible, everyone who worked hard for this. You guys were a big blessing in my life. Everybody who touched this home is amazing. They are blessed, and they will be blessed. Thank you guys, and God bless you guys, and thank you for blessing me and my family.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Sherry Breslin with Rogue Valley Security. Whether it's alarms, cameras, keyless entry, or even Starlink, we tailor solutions for your home or business. We believe in professionalism, excellence, and integrity. Every job, every time. Visit RogueValleySecurity.com.
Fall in love with Northridge Senior Living's classic contemporary beauty. Spacious apartments featuring private balconies, elegant gourmet-style dining under breathtaking chandeliers. We have on-site 24/7 in-home care and senior adult daycare, where your loved ones can spend the days with us and the evenings with you. Family owned and operated, we are Northridge Senior Living, a great place to call home.
Welcome to Rise Direct Primary Care. Imagine a healthcare experience where you're known by name, cared for like family, and treated with compassion. How is that possible? With an affordable, flat monthly membership, you receive unlimited primary care and minor urgent care visits. No insurance needed. At Rise Direct Primary Care, we offer a friendly, affordable healthcare experience where you get a whole hour with your provider. Located in Central Medford and accessible by phone or text, we can typically get you in the same or next day. We prescribe urgent care medications directly from our office, saving you a trip and wait time at the pharmacy when you'd rather be at home getting better. Personalized medical care with a human touch. Rise Direct Primary Care is all about healing the sick with compassion and keeping the healthy healthy. Rise Direct Primary Care. We're here for you. Visit risehealthdpc.com or call or text us 541-827-8603. 541-827-8603.
Alex McFarland addresses the hard-hitting questions about faith, morality, and culture.
We are to present, explain, defend the gospel.
Watch Alex McFarland Tuesdays and weekends on theDove TV.
Welcome back. 8 minutes before the hour on a beautiful Thursday. I had to remind myself it's Thursday. Mm-hmm. Anyway, good morning to you. Beautiful weather. Can you say President Alexandria Cortez?
No, I can't. Sorry. It just won't come out of my mouth. You did pretty good, though, but I'll never do it.
Well, Ocasio-Cortez.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. Anyway, a Democratic strategist and pollster Doug Shulman was on Varney and Company.
Okay.
And they talked about her AOC's future because she has indicated she may run for president.
God.
Now, I wonder if this is a pairing up with Newsom.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you could almost hope that it would be, because it would be so radical.
Yes, it would. Yeah, you know, that's a good point.
Yeah. So anyway, here's what he had to say.
Two good questions. She polls now 20 points ahead of Senator Chuck Schumer, the Democratic leader whose ratings have tanked. So I think she could win a Senate seat and maybe win it easily. As to the presidency, I think she's a strong candidate for the nomination. She can go anywhere in the country and draw a crowd. She's raised, I think, over $15 million this year from small donors. I have no doubt if she announced for president, that would exponentially increase. I'm not sure she's electable nationally, but you know what? This is a woman whose appeal has yet to be fully realized. And if Barack Obama, who was a 2-year senator, can get nominated and ultimately elected, maybe, just maybe, AOC with the support of Bernie Sanders, who's now on the screen, could well be a serious Democratic candidate, both for the nominee and ultimately potentially the presidency. We really are two Americas. You have an upper middle class that is doing very well, and the broad mass of Americans, 65, 70% or more, are living paycheck to paycheck. And as again, we've seen in New York with Mondani, the broad appeal, particularly to younger people, of the affordability message resonates loudly.
Well, resonates to a group that's shrinking.
Yeah.
So this is the ultimate division of the left of the Democratic Party. I mean, they really want to be identified with this, and a big portion of them do.
Well, yeah, those groups, those people that are still living with their parents. That's who they are appealing to.
All right, I'm going to have Tom Del Beccaro back on. He's a great guy. He's quite the contributor to a lot of the news sources around, but he's also former, I should say that, Republican chairman of the Republican Party in the state of California. So he and I have those T-shirts.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have Jim Burling on from the Pacific Legal Foundation talking about the what's on the docket for the Supreme Court. And the biggest one is the president's tariffs. And they're going to have the hearings of that in November.
Right.
The economy is kind of stalled until that decision is made. So we'll talk about that.
All right. Well, here's a great story about a customized tour, country style.
Oh.
One woman's recent visit to her southern relatives came with an unforgettable surprise. Wanting to see the family's pond, Erin, a 23-year-old with ALS, wasn't sure how she'd manage it from her wheelchair, but her loved ones made sure she didn't miss out. In true country fashion, the family hitched up a tractor with a forklift attachment, then rigged a pallet as a sturdy platform for her wheelchair, and gave her a ride around the property. Her beaming smile throughout the tour said everything.
See, we do things a little different in the country, don't we?
You know, that's something we would do.
100%.
Yeah. And did you notice there was no ropes, no nothing? No.
I said she was secure on the platform. Not quite as secure as we thought.
No, you'd pull your man card if you strapped her down.
I love it. That's a good one.
All right, good stuff. All right, the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verses 12 and 13. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friend. All right, think about that. Charlie did it for us. How about you? Jesus did it for us. Military does it for us all the time. So does police officers.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
Life is complicated enough. Why worry about what to do with your extra car? Skip the costs of maintaining it, storing it, insuring it, or renewing registration. Car repairs? Forget about it. Here's one easy solution to your car problem. Donate it to our station. It's fast, free, tax deductible, and if you donate, you're going to feel incredible knowing you're supporting quality programming. Interested? Just call this toll-free number or donate online. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Pastor Doug, producer of Dusty's Neighborhood, a show that helps kids grow in their love for Jesus and His Word, the Bible.
Doug!
Hi, Dusty.
What you doing? What you doing?
I'm just talking to these nice folks about the new show.
Oh, well, hi, nice folks.
You know, today's kids consume lots of media, filled with all kinds of messages. But what about good, godly content? You see, we would like to produce faith-based programming.
Doug, what are you doing?
Well, I said I'm talking to these people about the show.
But you're making it sound so boring. Our show is not boring. All right, kids, this is what you need to know. My new show is a blast. Jokes, check. Comedy, double check. Pastor Doug falling off a ladder and getting soaked in water and covered in cotton candy. Check. Boom, Dusty's Neighborhood. That's how you do it, Doug.
Check out Dusty's Neighborhood here on Dove TV.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Now notice when Jesus called his disciples, he never hid from them the fact that to follow him meant suffering, persecution, and death. We have a great deal of what someone has called cheap grace. Easy to follow Christ. Easy to get in the church. In Jesus' day, he called them to suffering. He didn't call them to a playground. He called them to a battlefield. He called them to war, spiritual war. And he said, you're going to suffer, and you're going to be wounded, and you're going to die in my cause. Because the world is going to reject me. This world that's dominated by evil and sin will reject me.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Grab a cup of coffee
and start your day right.
Join us for Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. Happy Thursday. Took me a while to tell my brain that.
Hey, it happens.
That happens.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I need counseling or pills or something. But I just got up and I thought, well, here we are Wednesday.
Okay, well, yeah, and sometimes we wake up a little early and you start wondering about the day. Do you ever wonder what time it is and then reach over to take a look? Or
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't dare do it. I don't want to know.
Well,
I don't want to know, because as soon as I hit what time it is, then my brain clicks in and starts planning what I need to do according to that time. It's like, I don't want to know.
Well, yeah, that's what I did this morning, so that's what I do most mornings.
But guess what?
Do you beat your alarm clock?
Oh, yeah, I did this morning. Yeah, absolutely. And it is Thursday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyway, happy Thursday.
Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful fall weather out there, and it's going to get cooler, and we got rain next week, which we're kind of excited about, so a lot going on. What's up? What do you got?
Not only is it Thursday, it's National Daughters Day. Daughters who bring a certain kind of joy into our world, and like all children, they have their own personalities and strengths. And if you have a daughter, I hope you are as blessed as we are with ours. A model child. I always said, you know what? I didn't have to screen the boys coming to the front door, to take Jenna out, because she screened them herself. And she said, Dad, you forgot. You took every phone call and you never let me get on the phone with any of them.
Yeah,
I said, what do you, no. She goes, yeah, Dad, think about it.
And I remember when Blake came on the scene, her brains fell out.
And we were like, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
Tag. Blake, you're it. Tag.
So enjoy your daughters. It's also National Tune-Up Day. And this is a reminder for homeowners to prepare for the winter heating season. Your heating system tune-up saves energy and reduces heating costs, plus keeps you and your family safe during the winter months. And if you have dealt with any issues with your heating system, your HVAC system, yeah, boy, join the club. A lot of us have as well. We went through ours.
Yeah.
But it's also that time of year, where you're stacking firewood and getting everything ready.
Yeah.
The acorns are falling.
Oh, yeah.
The acorn, the acorn woodpeckers are stuffing them under your shingles.
Yes.
Yeah, there's all kinds of activity going on out there. Yeah. So be careful. It's also National Comic Book Day. Of course, those novellas that have dialogue bubbles above the characters' heads as they communicate with one another, starting off as comic strips and then turning into comic books, or what some people call comic magazines. Are they still being published? Are there any big ones out there that, remember, we used to read Archie comics and Superman, Batman and stuff. Now they're all major movies and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you watch Pawn Stars, they're worth a lot of money.
You know what? There are certain ones. You're right.
If you bring them in and they're uncirculated?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. And you know what I love about that, too? Is Rick will look at it and goes, this looks good, but I don't know anything about it. But I know somebody who does. Do you mind if I bring in an expert?
You ever wonder why Las Vegas has all the experts of everything in the world?
Right.
Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah. You know what? It's interesting. Speaking of Las Vegas and stuff, we've been seeing reports about how tourism is down in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
It has to do with a lot of things. Rick from Pawn Stars weighed into this.
Yeah.
He says, the big problem is, have you noticed all those great buffets? They're all gone.
Oh.
He says, remember people used to come in and they'd get these great bargains on the buffets? He says, try going out to dinner now. He says, you can't find a buffet and see what your tab is going to be at the end of the meal. And he goes, you know what? That's a great point.
Yeah, I think they're pricing themselves out of business down there. To that point, that's a whole other story, but you're absolutely right. The cost of going down there now, and I say this only because it was reported. Somebody said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to pay $25 for a cocktail.
Right. Exactly.
And I'm going, well, okay, have a nice day. And then the buffet lines are gone.
Right.
So
if
it wasn't for conventions and the sports down there, I think the town would be in serious trouble.
Right. Yeah, and if you don't want to pay $25 for a cocktail, say, well, I'll take a Dr. Pepper. Okay. $18, please. All right. It is, this wasn't planned. I don't know how we got on to Las Vegas here, but anyway.
Oh, I do.
What?
I forgot.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
I forgot.
Right.
This is why I thought today is Wednesday. My brain here. So this is an announcement.
Okay.
Yesterday. Now, actually, it happened a few days ago, but we were able to verify it yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a long story, very short.
Okay.
For about the last 4 months, I've been working on something only because of a friend in the business, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And some friends that I have at K-Love Radio. I know those guys very, very well.
Right.
And so anyway, long story short, the Dove TV yesterday is now 24/7 on Channel 6 in Las Vegas.
That is stunning.
2.9 million people down there.
Yeah.
And we went on the air on Channel 6.
Wow.
Right now, somebody in Las Vegas is watching you and I talk. And we want to say, hey, how you doing?
Yeah. Hey,
welcome to the family.
We're going to have to add them to our weather report.
Yeah, we already have it on the legal ID.
Okay, all right, yeah.
But I did have a little tongue-in-cheek moniker for our new friends in Las Vegas.
What?
Not the residents, but those who are visiting.
Visiting, right.
Yeah, okay. Now that you lost everything, try Jesus.
I love it. I love it.
What do you think?
Yes.
So we went on Channel 6.
Oh, I love it. That's
and
great.
It's a long story, very complicated. All the stories are.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sorry. I got so much going on. I can't remember everything. But anyway, we went on Channel 6. It's over the air.
That's great news.
It's going to cook for a while, and then we'll figure out how, and I'll be talking to the cable company and all that stuff. But anyway, it's we're on Channel 6 in Las Vegas. 24/7.
Are you ever not amazed at how God works in our lives?
Well, obviously he's got some people down there he loves.
Oh, yeah, apparently so. It's amazing how
It's a great place. I mean, if you can stay away from all the other nonsense, if you get out around, and I kind of like the desert look and feel of that.
Yes.
But anyway, welcome to the family, and we try our best to bring it to you.
Yep. Now have a quesadilla.
Have a quesadilla.
It's National Quesadilla Day. Typically made with corn tortilla and filled with cheese. We heat quesadillas until the cheese melts. Then we grill it on the fryer until the edges are crispy. Some people also include other fillings such as cooked sausage, chicken, pork, or beef. And don't forget the toppings. Fresh tomatoes, salsa, herbs, sour cream, guacamole, or chilies bring a whole other level of flavor to your quesadilla. And we're looking at them, and that could be for breakfast. And you got to be careful, though. The plainest quesadilla is just cheese on a flour tortilla.
Yeah.
You can
there are
build it up.
times, they're good. Actually, they're a good little bit of an hors d'oeuvre.
Yeah. Yes. You can almost make it a full meal. If
Yes, you can.
Yeah. Fill it up enough, it's almost a taco, but they are good.
By the way, I just got a text.
Yeah?
Congratulations, brother. Now, that's awesome. Las Vegas. Now we can talk about gambling addiction. That was Doug.
Doug. I love it. All right, Doug.
Okay, Doug. Have a nice day, buddy.
You got it, bro. All right.
You can open up a chapter down there.
That's great. Well, one of the things you could put on a quesadilla is lobster. Because today is National Lobster Day, and of course, the simplest way to enjoy lobster is boiled and dipped in melted butter. But don't forget recipes like lobster Newburgh and lobster Thermidor. And these marine crustaceans live at the bottom of the ocean, and if they avoid the lobster pot, they can live up to 100 years old. And they, at one time, were poor man's food. They used to wash up on the shore. They were so abundant, they fed them to livestock and people, prisoners in prison. But how about this? So lobsters are reported to be up to 100 years old. So what's the record for the oldest living lobster? Check this guy out.
This is him?
This is him. The oldest recorded lobster is believed to have been caught off the coast of Maine in 2017. It's estimated to be between 140 to 150 years old.
Wow.
The lobster weighed around 27 pounds and was donated to the Maine State Aquarium, where it was confirmed to be the oldest ever, and it will not appear on anybody's dinner plate.
Well, he'd be old and rubbery.
Yeah, you would think so, huh?
So they name him Larry?
Larry? Larry the lobster. Yeah, he's allergic to melted butter.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, enjoy your lobster.
Yeah. Well, speaking of old and rubbery, here he is doing the weather.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. With temperatures moving down today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with daytime highs in the low 70s for Vancouver and Portland and mid-70s around Wilsonville and McMinnville with a light northwest wind. Continuing down the Willamette Valley, sunny with daytime high temperatures in the mid-70s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene with a north wind 7 to 9 miles per hour this morning. Sunny skies across the central Oregon high desert today with daytime high temperatures near 85 in Prineville and low 80s for Bend and Sun River. Another nice day in Boise, Idaho, sunny with a high in the mid-80s. Sunny and breezy along the Oregon coast with daytime highs in the mid-60s for Coos Bay and Port Orford and near 62 in Brookings. Patchy fog in Crescent City, California, then mostly sunny and breezy in mid-60s. In southern Oregon, sunny and breezy for the Rogue Valley with daytime highs in the mid to upper 80s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland. Sunny in the Klamath Basin with highs in the mid-80s and lows in the mid-40s. Into northern California, sunny in Wairika with a high near 87, a high of 93 in Redding under sunny skies. Mostly sunny in Chico with a high near 88 and Sacramento with a high near 87 and a light southwest wind. In the Bay Area, early patchy fog, then sunny in upper 70s in Santa Rosa. Gradual clearing in Napa with a high near 80. Mostly sunny in San Francisco with a high in the low 70s. And today in San Jose, mostly sunny and low 80s. A snapshot of your Thursday weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, a beautiful shot of our valley. A little bit of a haze there this morning as we have normally at sunrise you get a little bit of a temperature inversion. The sun's not quite up yet, so going to be a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
All right. Well, in your Christian walk, are you ever taken back by people who are up against you because of your faith, or maybe they just don't like you? Sometimes we call them enemies. Well, here with some encouragement is Dr. Anthony George.
Let God arise and his enemies be scattered. You know what else God can do to the enemies of his name? He can cause them to reap confusion because of their rejection of his truth. And that is the picture we see of a divided Sanhedrin as Paul stands on trial and he capitalizes on his belief in the resurrection and has to be pulled from their midst. Why? What we are saying is some who hate us hate each other. And I know we should never delight in this, but sometimes I do. When you see those who are the enemies of righteousness and truth and of God turning and devouring one another, because there is no solid ground on which to stand except the established truth of the gospel and the written word of God. Everything else is an insecure foundation and subject to fail with enough time given. So if you're listening, say amen.
Amen.
Amen. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Dr. Anthony George, one of my favorite guys. All right, good morning to you. 13 minutes past the hour. By the way, I just want to say we will be, can't believe this, we will be including a Las Vegas weather. I have to say that I just kind of, I don't know why it tickles my bone, but I never thought the Dove would be doing weather in Las Vegas.
I know. How am I going to jump from San Jose to Las Vegas?
Carefully.
Okay. Okay.
So welcome Las Vegas Channel 6 to the Dove family. All right. Good morning to you. Let's take a look at some of the top stories. All right. Back to some serious note. Unfortunately, another ICE shooting in Dallas, Texas yesterday. This is ever becoming so familiar. 8 times now Democrats have demonized ICE agents to a point where they have people have been shot and killed.
Right.
And yesterday, 1 killed and 2 injured. And this is crazy. And I have just a fundamental question. Okay? Why is it bad for ICE, who are federal agents, to uphold federal law?
It's not bad.
Why is that bad?
It's because they've been demonized by the left, and especially by the left legacy media.
Okay.
Yep.
So the rhetoric is hot and heavy, and it's resulting in this kind of stuff, and these people are being radicalized. Well, Ted Cruz, God bless him, he is from Texas, and he showed up there, and here's what he had to say.
This needs to stop. Violence is wrong. Politically motivated violence is wrong. It was 2 weeks ago today that we saw a political assassination in Utah that tore the heart out of much of this country. This is the 3rd shooting in Texas directed at ICE or CBP. This must stop. To every politician who is using rhetoric demonizing ICE and demonizing CBP, stop. To every politician demanding that ICE agents be doxxed and calling for people to go after their families, stop. This has very real consequences. Look, in America, we disagree, that's fine, that's the democratic process, but your political opponents are not Nazis. We need to learn to work together without demonizing each other, without attacking each other. And I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to the brave men and women of law enforcement. I want to say thank you to the brave men and women of ICE and CBP and everyone who puts their lives on the line to keep us safe.
Well, this is getting ever too familiar here.
Yes. Is this nearing copycat crime? We got a guy in a roof, just like 2 weeks ago. We got a guy who's writing messages on bullets.
And this guy did it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But you know what's kind of weird about this? Obviously, he headed in for ICE agents and the work of ICE. But he didn't kill or shoot any ICE agents. He actually killed an ICE detainee, somebody that they had brought in, and then two others who aren't ICE agents. We haven't heard who they are. So it apparently, he apparently shot basically at random. He didn't know who he was even shooting up there.
He was confused.
Right.
So Josh Johnson, he is the acting director of ICE there in the Dallas area, and here's what he had to say.
This is the second time I've had to stand in front of you and talk about a shooter at one of my facilities. And I think that the takeaway from all of this is that the rhetoric has to stop. There are people out there who are seeing what is being placed online, and they're coming and they're doing acts of violence against ICE employees. So that's kind of all I have for today, is that it's just got to stop. It's dangerous, and people are losing their lives.
Now, there's another part of this. I want to be careful here because I don't want to be adding to the problem, but it's real simple. Gavin Newsom is out saying that ICE agents will be used by President Trump in the next midterm election to suppress voter turnout.
Oh gosh.
Okay, and he's also calling for ICE agents to take their mask off. So you got a sitting governor that's stirring the pot.
Absolutely.
And so the only thing I can say is, folks, look, this is we're at a really tipping point in our country, whether we're going to people of law or not.
Right.
You know.
Well, you know what? And this doxing thing is real. You know, they're talking about pulling the masks off, and then what they do is they take pictures of the agents. They identify who they are, and they go after it. Then they dox them. They publish their where they live, the addresses, just like they did, by the way, remember with Supreme Court justices?
Yeah.
Remember the protests going on outside? What's next? You know, we were talking about the fact that President Trump wanted to up the budget for their security.
Yeah.
I hope that's all taking place, because we're in a real dangerous area here.
I mentioned you would say that because the $58 million extra money that the president's requesting for security, not only for the White House, Supreme Court.
Right.
And other agents out there is now going to get tied up in this possible government shutdown. The House has passed what they call a CR, continuing resolution, to fund the government up through about late November, so that they could go ahead and finish the process. I had Congressman Benson yesterday, we talked about this, to finish the budgeting process so they can come up with a good budget, basically, with all the cuts they need to do and move forward. Well, you know, Chuck Schumer and the Democrats don't want to do that. So it passed through the House. It's now at the Senate. They need 60 votes in the Senate. Well, there's not 60 Republicans in the Senate. And so here we are heading for a shutdown, okay? And, of course, the left's going to blame the right right's going to blame the left, that whole thing. But here's a little bit of a checkmate. So the White House said yesterday through the budgeting office to all the agencies out there, if we go into a shutdown, start massive layoffs permanently.
Wow. Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
So who's going to get this hung on their beak?
Yeah.
By the way, it's not the end of the world. No, people will tell you it is, but it's really not.
Yeah.
So we don't know. September 30th, If they don't pass the CR, they shut the government down. So we'll see what happens. And one other thing is Attorney General U.S. Pam Bondi, she's been under a little bit of pressure lately because she hasn't been going after the president's opponents. And can you kind of let her know about that?
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting. In the meantime, she's moving some of the worst around, and she's taken some of the people that the former administration gave, who had their sentences these are people on death row that the Biden administration gave a pass to. 37 of them whose sentences the Biden administration commuted in late December, and promoting, if you remember, prompting, I should say, massive criticism about what they call the Hail Mary auto pin pardons, so to speak. Well, these people now are being moved from various prisons and taken to the, I guess, the worst of the worst. I say that. It's the Penitentiary Administrative Maximum Facility in Florence, Colorado. This is where the worst of the worst go.
Yep.
And anyway, she picked them up and said, well, we're going to make sure you don't get out. In fact, we're going to make life a little harder for you and send them over there. Well, okay, it's a move, but she's under a lot of pressure. Former FBI Director James Comey now is may be indicted today.
Perhaps.
And along with 3 other people. And on that list is Senator Adam Schiff. Now, the reason that they're pushing this is statutes of limitation.
Right, that runs out next week. And, and they're specifically looking at Comey for lying to Congress. That is that's the
that's
low-hanging
perjury.
fruit. Right.
Good old perjury.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and same thing with Schiff.
Yeah.
So we'll see where this goes, but won't that be interesting?
Oh, of course, it's just retribution, right?
Of course. Yeah, of course. All right. So what happened to our special session?
Yeah. What's going on?
Oregon went into a special session the Friday before Labor Day.
Yeah.
Well, we'll give you an update when we take a banana break. We'll be right back.
Big ideas grow.
Put your gold in an envelope, mail it. Hopefully you get a check. Nah. Father and son jewelry, bring your gold in, we weigh it, we check it, we make you the offer.
Or turn your something old into something new. Whether it's an idea, a picture, or a piece you want to duplicate, we can melt it down and make it for you.
If you find your perfect piece in store, trade your something old for something new, and you always get a little extra.
Visit Father and Son Jewelry, 5 generations of family in Medford.
We've all enjoyed a real hot summer, and now fire danger is biting at its heels. Flammable blackberries and underbrush will grow like gangbusters and sprout fire danger in no time. A wise property owner knows the best time to take care of fire danger is to extinguish it before it gets started. GMV Forestry, LLC can help you protect your property with adequate fire brush clearing to fireproof a zone around your precious property. With over 35 years experience, GMV Forestry LLC has the knowledge, experience, and all the equipment you need to get the job done right, offering a wide variety of services like mulching, field mowing, snow removal, driveway clearing, ditch cleaning, gravel delivery and spreading, driveway sweeping, logging, and more. GMV Forestry LLC does it all, and they do it right. GMV Forestry LLC, the team you can trust. 541-660-6445. 541-660-6445.
All right, good morning to you. Welcome back. 24 minutes past the hour. As you know, Oregon went into a special session the Friday going into Labor Day weekend, and it was all to solve a problem as it relates to the Department of Transportation in the state of Oregon, which is about $350 million short, which could result in several hundred layoffs, okay? It didn't even get through the normal legislative session. They couldn't settle on it, and that upset the Governor Tina Kotek, so she wanted to go into special session and fix the problem. There's simple solutions here that's gotten so tangled up, which is typical in politics
Yeah.
and legislation. $350 million could be taken out of the rainy day fund, keep those people jobs, and then put this agency under an audit, which somehow people are really afraid to do. So she calls for a special session, and it went from $2 billion over 10 years. Guess what? Even during the special session, it's grown to $4.3 billion increased taxes across the state of Oregon over a 10-year period. Well, finally, the Republicans now have got a little bit of leadership change, and our good friend, and I have high regard for, Senator Starr now is heading up the Republicans in the Senate. And they put out this map yesterday, and it showed over 5,000 pieces of written testimony submitted to the Oregon legislature on the governor's proposed $4.3 billion tax hike bill, transportation. And the map shows which organization's testimony by city vividly illustrates the opposition spans from urban to suburban to rural areas are saying to the governor, don't do this. Now, what's interesting about this map is look at the concentration in the top 3 counties, which are heavily blue. They're saying, don't do this. And she's up for re-election. And they can't get the special session ended. Now, there is alternatives on the table. So we've heard from Bruce Starr, Senator Starr, and we've heard from Representative Christine Drazen, that the Republicans have some solutions to this. Okay, I haven't read all those details, so I can't really comment on that. But I guess just too simple. Stop this nonsense. Give them the $350 million out of the rainy day fund, and then put the agency under an audit. Why is that so hard? But they can't bring this special session in for a landing. So it's possible. Now, one of the things that the governor's waiting on, the one senator that they need to finish the vote is in the hospital.
How long can she keep them?
Well,
indefinitely?
I don't know the rules on that one. I got to ask Jason or somebody. I don't know the rules on that. But I can tell you this, that they're getting $178 a day per diem for being in special session. And I don't know if they're sitting around playing cards. I don't know what they're doing.
What are they doing?
Okay, but, and of course, it's so embarrassing that the leadership, both in the House and the Senate, is saying, give your $178 to charity, don't keep it. Because this is so crazy. Now, $4.3 billion added on top of us over the next 10 years in a state that can't attract good business. We're just basically running them out of town. And these are people that have no idea what it is to run a business in this state and live under the rules and the regulations that they force upon us. This is crazy. I've said enough. I've got to get my blood pressure down. All right, so much for that. Let's take one other little thing. Don't forget, coming up this weekend on Saturday from 11 to 3, the Civil Air Patrol is having an open house here at the airport.
All right.
Go out there and support them. And one other little comment. I just got this story. Andrew Colbert, he is the guy that produced Charlie Kirk's podcast and radio show. He is saying that the response since the assassination of Charlie Kirk has produced such an overriding interest that they're heading now towards what they call Club America chapters in every high school and college campus in America.
And I read a report.
This is amazing.
This is amazing. And even more so, I read a report that the left is now fearing Charlie Kirk's wife, who is now going to head Turning Point, that she is going to attract young women to the conservative movement, much the same as her husband did with young men to the conservative movement. And the left is shaking in their boots about this.
Should be.
Yes.
All right, let's take a look at Wall Street for this Thursday. I got to remind myself it's Thursday, better known as Friday Eve. Thank you, Preston. There's a guy that's got his head on straight. Anyway, the Dow's off 54 and 3/4. The NAS is off 135, and the S&P down 27.5. So some red ink this morning. I think it has a lot to do with the emotion of the country. So gold is at $37.55 high. Silver's back up, $44.50, and crude oil about even. $67.73 a barrel.
Well, we know that YouTube came and closed the Dove YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And like 16,000 videos were, confiscated. And of course, I don't remember hearing of that happening to left-leaning organizations, just places that were leaning or are on the right.
Yeah, we got booted for something our guest said.
Yeah, not what was said by any member of the Dove, but you allowed your guests to speak.
Yep.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
You didn't censor them, so they censored us.
What a thought.
Yeah, what was there any accountability when they finally rolled it back out to us?
Well, I have in my file a piece of history.
Oh, what?
I have an apology from YouTube.
How about that?
Yeah, I actually have that letter in my file up there.
All right, I would like to see that one day. Well, Babylon Bee CEO Seth Dillon joined Fox Business's Bottom Line and says that YouTube censorship of conservative channels was unconstitutional because the government was involved, and he's looking for accountability.
Well, where's the accountability? That's what I wonder, because this was a constitutional violation if you had the government involved, and clearly the government was involved, and YouTube has admitted that. Zuckerberg admitted that he was facing pressure as well from the administration. So the censorship was heavy-handed and it was coming from the government. But the COVID stuff was really, what really got my blood boiling back then was how there was this argument that, even as they started to realize that they were too heavy-handed with their censorship and the story started to change and things that we thought were false turned out to be true, they always, try to absolve themselves by saying, well, we censored based on what we knew at the time. And I'm just thinking to myself, that's actually an argument against censorship because it's a concession that knowledge changes over time, which means that if it does change over time, you might be censoring the truth right now. So we shouldn't be engaged in censorship. The best way to get to the truth is through open discourse and debate. And I'm hopeful that we'll have some more progress in that direction. This is great. This is a great first step. But again, I know people personally who are making $150,000 a month on YouTube when they got suspended for these, ridiculous thought crimes that they had committed. Where's the recompense for that? It is unlawful, I think, what they were doing. There needs to be some accountability through the courts. I think the social pressure that's been applied, and also, this is a lot of this change that we're seeing is the result of people using their voices to push back on this stuff, to apply more pressure to these companies, to elect leaders that are going to actually do something about it. And right these wrongs. So I think we're making progress in the right direction. As far as what the final solution is, I don't know, but the platforms are freer today than they were yesterday, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. But you got to remember, when you sign up, they own it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You got to remember that. That's part of the argument. But the other thing is that is there RICO laws here being violated? And is there a monopoly law? And I say that carefully because as an industry. They're unregulated, but they're privately owned.
Right.
That's why we got booted off.
Yeah.
Okay, it's very complicated.
Yeah.
Yep. But should they be held accountable?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Are they publishers? Are they electronic publishers? Should they be accountable for what they published?
Yeah, like newspapers.
Well, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know. All of a sudden, quesadillas are really fun. I just got a note, by the way, quesadilla with Costco cheese and bacon bits.
Oh.
We'll be right back.
Oh, yeah.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Jesus says this in John 15, verses 8 and 16. You bring glory to my Father. You want to bring glory to Father? Here's how you do it. You bring glory to my Father, and you show you're my disciples. You want to prove you're really a follower of Christ? You show you're my disciples by bearing much fruit. Notice that word, much fruit. God wants a big family. He says, I chose you and I've called you to bear fruit that will last. Now, I want you to notice from that verse, Jesus says, God expects me and expects you and expects this church to bear much fruit. So that's what we're going to believe God for. Even more important is that God promises and God guarantees your fruitfulness in life if you follow certain instructions.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express. Breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
Welcome back to the Jerry Building Show.
Yeah, oh no, don't say that.
Yeah. He is the father of Jenna.
Well, yeah, you can say
the perfect daughter.
Yes, yeah. Well, as perfect as they come. You know, there's no such thing as perfection, but she moved that bar pretty close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember, Blake, you married up. Okay. Let's check in with CBN News Watch.
This is CBN News Watch.
On this Thursday, the 25th of September, we're going to begin in Israel's ongoing political and diplomatic battle against the establishment of a Palestinian state, as Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu arrives in the United States to take on that issue at the United Nations tomorrow. And back in Israel, a Houthi drone injured more than 20 people in the Israeli resort town of Eilat yesterday. Israel's defense minister is promising a devastating response. CBN Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell, he's bringing us the story now, reporting from Jerusalem.
The drone, videotaped from multiple angles on social media, slipped through Israeli defenses and left at least 22 people wounded, 2 seriously. Defense Minister Israel Katz said the Houthi terrorists refused to learn from Iran, Lebanon, and Gaza and will learn the hard way. Whoever harms Israel will be harmed sevenfold. Before leaving for New York to address the UN General Assembly, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu delivered a message to the people of Israel and denounced those calling for a Palestinian state.
At the UN General Assembly, I will speak our truth, the citizens of Israel, the truth of the IDF soldiers of our country. I will denounce those leaders who, instead of denouncing the murderers, rapists, and child burners, want to give them a state in the heart of the land of Israel. This will not happen.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio told CBS News that the declaration stopped the ceasefire hostage negotiations.
The impact it has had is it actually derailed and made talks that were going on. It made it even harder to get Hamas to enter into concessions that might have brought this to an end. And look, we think there's a window of opportunity right now to pursue it.
After President Trump's speech at the UN on Tuesday, he met with a number of Arab and Muslim leaders and presented a comprehensive plan to end the war in Gaza. It calls for an immediate ceasefire, the release of all hostages, a gradual Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, and a role for Arab and Muslim countries in the region to administer Gaza during a post-war transition period. Reportedly, President Trump also said he would stop Israel from declaring sovereignty over the biblical heartland of Judea and Samaria. Oren Seliger of the Yesser Council, a group representing communities in Judea and Samaria, told CBN News that declaring sovereignty is a way to stop a Palestinian state.
We have to basically end that dream and end that fantasy. The way to do that is to make it clear that we are here and we are here to stay. We do that by declaring sovereignty on Judea and Samaria.
Now all eyes are on Netanyahu's speech on Friday and a planned meeting between President Trump and Netanyahu at the White House on Monday.
And Chris Mitchell joins us now. So, Chris, both Israel and the U.S. are firmly opposed to a Palestinian state, and it seems unlikely it will happen. So why are so many countries still pushing for this?
Well, Ephraim, I think a couple of reasons. First of all, external diplomatic pressure from other countries and also internal public pressure. Pro-Hamas and pro-Palestinian protests have had an impact. I think, especially in the UK, with literally hundreds of thousands of pro-Palestinian and pro-Hamas demonstrators out in the streets. Images of devastation in Gaza have really had a hard thing, public image against Israel and for the Palestinians, even though many people believe the destruction wouldn't be there if Hamas had surrendered, if it would end the war and release all the hostages. It also gives the Palestinian Authority a stronger claims in international law with these declarations of a Palestinian state. And many people still have faith in what's called the two-state solution. It seems logical or fair for two states, as the mantra goes, living side by side in safety and security. But others against the two-state solution said that's been tried for nearly 80 years since the partition plan, the UN partition plan in 1947, also the Oslo Accords that began in 1993, and don't believe that if it hasn't worked in decades, will it work now?
Israel's foreign minister says Israel will not annex parts of the West Bank now under the control of the Palestinian Authority. And President Trump reportedly told Arab leaders this week he will try to stop it. What's likely to happen?
Well, Gideon Sar in an interview recently said there's really no intention of discussing annexation of Palestinian Authority territories because they don't want to control the Palestinians in their controls in areas where the Palestinian Authority has control. The Judea and Samaria, as people call the West Bank, has been divided up into three sections, A, B, and C. So A is controlled mainly by the Palestinian Authority, B is joint control, and C is Israeli control. And so what he says, Gideon Sar says, what can be discussed is implementing Israeli law on Israeli communities where they are not under Palestinian Authority control. So these are discussions that will likely take place once Prime Minister Netanyahu returns from Washington after his talks with President Trump, and what can be done into these circumstances between Israel, Jerusalem, and Washington.
A lot going on there. Wow. All right, let's check out the weather. It's going to be pretty nice. It is pretty nice, and you just may want to call in sick.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. With temperatures moving down today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with daytime highs in the low 70s for Vancouver and Portland and mid-70s around Wilsonville and McMinnville with a light northwest wind. Continuing down the Willamette Valley, sunny with daytime high temperatures in the mid-70s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene, with a north wind 7 to 9 miles per hour this morning. Sunny skies across the central Oregon high desert today with daytime high temperatures near 85 in Prineville and low 80s for Bend and Sun River. Another nice day in Boise, Idaho, sunny with a high in the mid-80s. Sunny and breezy along the Oregon coast with daytime highs in the mid-60s for Coos Bay and Port Orford and near 62 in Brookings. Patchy fog in Crescent City, California, then mostly sunny and breezy in mid-60s. In southern Oregon, sunny and breezy for the Rogue Valley with daytime highs in the mid-to-upper 80s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland. Sunny in the Klamath Basin with highs in the mid-80s and lows in the mid-40s. Into northern California, sunny in Wairika with a high near 87, a high of 93 in Redding under sunny skies. Mostly sunny in Chico with a high near 88, and Sacramento with a high near 87 and a light southwest wind. In the Bay Area, early patchy fog, then sunny in upper 70s in Santa Rosa. Gradual clearing in Napa with a high near 80. Mostly sunny in San Francisco with a high in the low 70s. And today in San Jose, mostly sunny and low 80s. A snapshot of your Thursday weather from Grange Co-op. And today in Las Vegas, a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms after 11 a.m., mostly sunny with a high near 96.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, see that shot there?
Yeah.
All right, that's almost directly west, so that's good. You know what? We have capability. I got to talk to our guys in the control room.
Okay.
We can show the Las Vegas airport, the Reed International Airport.
Oh, really?
So we can show the weather down there.
Oh.
So they have a chance of weather. They have a chance of rain today?
They got a chance of showers after 11 a.m., but it's going to be up to about 96 today.
Okay.
But I think it's more of a slight chance than anything else, but it's a chance.
All right, well, there's our backyard.
All right, looking good. All right, well, this park is home for a baseball team with a long history, but it's one of the most unusual ballparks of them all. On September 25, 1911, groundbreaking began for a ballpark that would become one of baseball's most beloved shrines, Fenway Park in Boston. Built on a quirky, irregular plot of land, its outfield dimensions are anything but ordinary. The most famous feature? The towering 37-foot-high left field wall, better known as the Green Monster, which turned routine fly balls into doubles and sometimes heartbreak. Fenway officially opened the next spring in April of 1912, and more than a century later, it's still the home of the Boston Red Sox. With its hand-operated scoreboard, quirky angles, and history-packed stands, Fenway Park remains not just a ballpark, but a living museum of the game, the oldest Major League Baseball park still in use today. Good old Fenway Park.
You ever been there?
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what, that is quite an iconic ballpark. I was just mentioning that Aaron Judge with the New York Yankees, the last time the Yankees played, he not only hit it over the Green Monster, he hit it so far over, there's a street behind the Green Monster, he hit it over the street, hit a building on the other side, and bounced down into the street. But it has come into play many times, it could be involved in postseason play still because the Red Sox are still mathematically in it, and the playoffs are right around the corner, and it's exciting. There's a pennant race in every division right now.
Go ahead, knock them. Go ahead, knock them.
Knock them?
Yeah, go ahead.
What? What am I knocking?
The Red Sox. I know you're not for them. Go ahead.
Well, we hate the Red Sox.
Go ahead. Knock them down. Go ahead.
There is such a rivalry. We were at a ball game in Yankee Stadium, and the Red Sox were there. It was the last meeting between the Yankees and the Red Sox in the old Yankee Stadium, and there was give and take going back and forth between the Red Sox fans and the Yankee fans. And the Yankee fans got this guy's Red Sox hat, and they passed it down the line in the aisle until it got to they're on the upper deck, and they got to the guy on the edge, and everybody in the park started chanting, "Toss it, toss it."
Really?
He just threw it out.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. There's no love lost between Red Sox and Yankee fans.
Okay, here comes a guy that used to call baseball games and made it all the way up. We'll share it with you when we come back.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
The threat of wildfire poses a growing risk to Oregonians. You can prepare now by taking 3 important steps. Create a home inventory, make copies of important financial records, and contact your insurance company to make sure you have the right amounts and types of home insurance coverage. Be wildfire ready by being insurance ready. Visit dfr.oregon.gov/prepare now to learn how.
Welcome home to the Dove, an encouraging place, an informative place, a safe network for your entire family, offering hope.
Welcome home.
The Dove's mission is to be a beacon of truth, providing authentic faith-based content to those seeking Christ and those faithful, from a who's who of respected Christian teachers.
Welcome home to the Dove.
The Dove Network, broadcasting and streaming reliable, trustworthy news, information, and talk. Featuring Mornings on the Dove, Focus Today, CBN News, and other current affairs programming to stay connected. The Dove Network, a trusted friend, enriching your faith with reliable, inspiring content and spiritual resources that will change your life forever.
Welcome home to the Dove TV, radio, and the Dove.us.
The Dove, encouraging and informative. You are welcome here. 30 seconds or less, the length of a typical soundbite. You can't really learn much. It takes time to ask questions and understand. Focus Today does just that. We give you an hour so you can understand better. Focus Today on the Dove TV.
Okay, welcome back on this beautiful Thursday morning. Happy Thursday to you. Well, a gentleman who used to call baseball games, two people that were quite famous, Ronald Reagan and Rush Limbaugh.
Wow.
They both called games.
Wow.
And Ronald Reagan, as you know, went all the way to the White House.
Yes.
But early on, like you said, he was a lifeguard. He was a broadcaster.
Yeah.
He called games. Well, this was the speech back in 1964. They say this is the speech that Ronald Reagan gave, and it was called A Time for Choosing. And they think this is the speech that launched him to the national scene. So even though he was governor, then he went on. But this was the one that launched him politically. Here's a little clip from it.
This is a man who said to his 19-year-old son, "There is no foundation like the rock of honesty and fairness. And when you begin to build your life on that rock, with the cement of the faith in God that you have, then you have a real start." This is not a man who could carelessly send other people's sons to war. And that is the issue of this campaign that makes all the other problems I've discussed academic, unless we realize we're in a war that must be won. Those who would trade our freedom for the soup kitchen of the welfare state have told us they have a utopian solution of peace without victory. They call their policy accommodation. And they say if we'll only avoid any direct confrontation with the enemy, he'll forget his evil ways and learn to love us. All who oppose them are indicted as warmongers. They say we offer simple answers to complex problems. Well, perhaps there is a simple answer. Not an easy answer, but simple. If you and I have the courage to tell our elected officials that we want our national policy based on what we know in our hearts is morally right, we cannot buy our security, our freedom from the threat of the bomb, by committing an immorality so great as saying to 1 billion human beings now enslaved behind the Iron Curtain, give up your dreams of freedom, because to save our own skins, we're willing to make a deal with your slave masters. Alexander Hamilton said, "A nation which can prefer disgrace to danger is prepared for a master and deserves one." Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war, but there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second: surrender. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement. And this is the specter our well-meaning liberal friends refuse to face, that their policy of accommodation is appeasement. And it gives no choice between peace and war, only between fight or surrender. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we have to face the final demand, the ultimatum. And what then? Well, Nikita Khrushchev has told his people he knows what our answer will be. He has told them that we're retreating under the pressure of the Cold War, and someday, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. He believes this because from our side he's heard voices pleading for peace at any price, or better red than dead, or as one commentator put it, he'd rather live on his knees than die on his feet. And therein lies the road to war, because those voices don't speak for the rest of us. You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the Pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord Bridge have thrown down their guns and refused to fire the shot heard round the world? The martyrs of history were not fools. And our honored dead, who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis, didn't die in vain. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay. There is a point beyond which they must not advance.
Whoa, I would definitely vote for that guy. Oh.
Now, when he gave that speech, he gave that speech in favor of Republican presidential candidate Barry Goldwater.
Right.
And that was long before he ever went into politics at the level that he went into. Yeah. But boy, oh boy, look at what he was dealing with then and what we're dealing with today.
Absolutely.
It looks like we have just repeated it.
Right. And boy, he weighed in with heavyweights. He talked about Moses and Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
He did it. Wow, that was awesome.
All right. What do you got there?
Well, here's a great story about a customized tour country style.
Ooh.
One woman's recent visit to her southern relatives came with an unforgettable surprise. Wanting to see the family's pond, Erin, a 23-year-old with ALS, wasn't sure how she'd manage it from her wheelchair, but her loved ones made sure she didn't miss out. In true country fashion, the family hitched up a tractor with a forklift attachment, then rigged a pallet as a sturdy platform for her wheelchair, and gave her a ride around the property. Her beaming smile throughout the tour said everything. You know what? We do things a little different in the country, don't we? You think OSHA was involved in that setup? Not quite.
You know what?
What?
We're so guilty of doing stupid things.
Oh,
like
I
that.
know.
That is, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's pretty. That's got us written all over it.
Yeah. Imagine that. A pallet. You know how she was secured to the pallet?
She wasn't.
She wasn't. They just tipped it back a little bit so she wouldn't fall forward.
Yeah.
But she was rocking around. But she was very happy with the ride. So
and they leaned her out over the pond.
They put her right over the pond.
Wow.
Put a fishing rod in her hand.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in the country we do things a little.
Without a doubt.
Different and a little risky.
Right.
Okay, good stuff all the way around. But a couple of things. You may want to be calling your legislators today and tell them just don't vote for the bill there in Oregon.
Keep calling. If you've called already, call again.
Send it to everybody.
Yeah.
This thing's on the rocks, and maybe you can stop it. I don't know if this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So think about that. In the meantime, take this great scripture with you today. It's out of the Gospel of John, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, chapter 15, verses 12 and 13. This is Jesus saying, "This is my commandment, that you love one another." I guess we could stop there and preach for a while.
Mm-hmm.
That you love one another as I have loved you. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for their friends. Well, our military does it for us. Our police officers did it for us. Charlie did it for us. And, of course, the ultimate was Christ did it for us.
Come have your way among us. We welcome you here.
At Rogue Hearing in Phoenix, we help you hear life again, clearly and comfortably. From expert hearing tests to custom aids and more, the team at Rogue Hearing delivers care you can trust. Rogue Hearing in Phoenix at the shops at Exit 24. Personalized hearing care right here at home.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
Stewardship begins with the knowledge that nothing belongs to us, but everything belongs to the Lord. This helps us to run a business not in the fear of lack, but in the assurance of His care and provision. Such a perspective eliminates the drive to sell and replaces it with a heart that says serve. This begins with serving our clients and coworkers with integrity and genuine care. That's why at Kelly's, it's automotive service with a heart for God, and treating others as we ourselves would want to be treated. Our promise is to never sell our clients anything we don't believe they need. Another is to do all we can to meet other needs, such as shuttle service and loaner cars, or taking the time to really listen, even at times praying with our customers. Sometimes this means sacrifice, going above and beyond, but that's why I work for Kelly's Automotive Service, honoring God while serving people with honesty and integrity.
My work is my worship, and going out there, just the intensity, the passion, the effort that I play with, that's my worship back to God.
Linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Alex Highsmith, shares the importance of his faith on and off the field.
Football is an amazing game, but it's a terrible God.
What is it about being a professional football player that has rushed you forward for divine relationship?
On the 700 Club, Thursday.
Clean water is essential to your good health. UltraPure Purified Water has been delivering purified, healthy drinking water to the Rogue Valley since 1995. Locally owned and family run, UltraPure Purified Water uses a multi-stage process ensuring your delivery of water is 99.8% pure, so your family stays hydrated and healthy. Online at ultrapurewaterinc.com or call 541-734-0828. 541-734-0828.
You're watching the Dove TV, encouraging and informative for San Rafael and the North Bay. Seen on KQSL 17 and these Dove TV affiliates.
Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and I'm always delighted when I get to sit down with somebody that I have high regard for, and that is Tom Del Vaccaro. He's an author of a new book called The Lessons of the American Civilization. It's not a big book, but it is a powerful book, and I think it's a kind of like a manual. It's kind of like a school book. Check it out. And he's also the former chairman of the California Republican Party, so he and I share the same dirty T-shirts. The author of two historical perspectives, The Divided Era and The New Conservative Paradigm. He's also the columnist for Fox News, Fox Business, Epoch Times, and the publisher of politicalvanguard.com. And that has a website. Tom has a website, tomdell.com, and there's the picture of that landing page. He's one of the great thinkers of our days. Brother Tom, good to see you, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for your kindness. And we launched today a group called Californians for Election Fairness, electionfairness.com. That's electionfairness.com. Join us as we work together with other groups to defeat Prop 50 in California, which of course is the Gavin Newsom, George Soros effort to basically over gerrymander California and remove all Republicans.
Yeah.
Almost all.
Where is that? Where is it?
It's going to be on the ballot in October. We're 39 days away from the election. Ballots just dropped. So if you're in California and you're listening to me, you should be getting a ballot. If not, you can check with your registrar, but join us at electionfairness.com.
Electionfairness.com. Stop Prop 50. Good stuff. Well, Tom, it's always great to have you. Kind of jump around a little bit. What did you think of the president's UN speech?
Well, the historian in me says that he continues to confound history. You don't often show up to the UN and be so direct. But I'd have to put it on par with Reagan's evil empire speech or tear down this wall, because President Trump has no time for niceties. The world's in trouble. The West is challenged. Putin continues to do things, that are horrific, and the Western Europe needs to get its act together. So I thought it was very Trumpian, which is, these are the facts, you should be acting on them, and get over your diplomacy and start saving people's lives.
Well said. Well said. All right. It was preceded with some interesting things. The moment he and the First Lady stepped on the escalator, it stopped. The moment he get to the podium, the teleprompter stops, and then it starts, and then it glitches. And the audio from that to all of the outlets was muffled. Coincidence?
Well, we live in a world where we're skeptical about many things. Look, the UN is lost its way. It was, keep in mind the United States was isolationist up till 1920. And then after World War II, we got involved with the United Nations. We wind up placing it here, being the major funder, but not benefiting all too much from it. So nothing would surprise me when you ask if it's a coincidence.
Yeah. President Trump had an amazing state visit in the UK with the King. It was astonishing. I mean, I look at this and I kind of like all the pomp. I mean, I just enjoy watching it. But he comes home, and then the UK takes sides with a two-state solution in Israel. What do you do with that?
Yeah, Marco Rubio, who is quite honestly my favorite administration person, other than the president, lays it out clearly. The moment they did that, Hamas started walking away from the table, right? When France did it, and now the UK joins them, Australia. And by the way, where is the second state? And then they say, well, Hamas won't be involved in the second state. Really? How are you you're the same people that are telling Israel not to remove them at times. So it's not clarity. It won't work. They gave them a second state in Gaza, right on the doorstep. Hamas took it over and was the proxy for Iran, and we all know the trouble that existed. Throughout his career, after being president, Nixon said there has to be buffer states between Israel and these other states. And a two-state solution doesn't provide that, so it's not going to work.
The deal that was struck between the United States and the UK for business, do you think that's in jeopardy now because of the UK stance on two states?
No. Trump's a deal log, not an ideologue. A deal log.
Okay. All right. That makes that.
And he needs the economy to be jumping. The second quarter was revised up to 3.8% today or yesterday. Mm-hmm. So the economy needs to get going, and employment needs to get going. Wages already are. So no, Trump needs these deals, wants these deals. Look, Trump looks at deals truly as part of foreign policy. Mm-hmm. And the more the economy in the West does well, the weaker it'll do in China and in Russia, and that's necessary. So no, that deal's safe and sound.
At the same time, after he's received by the king for a state visit, he comes home, the UK says they're for two states. He goes to the UN and he points his finger at all the European countries, and he basically said, wake up, your countries are going to hell if you don't stop this illegal immigration. Pretty bold, don't you think?
And also stop funding Russia, the two of them together. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's very bold. It is. Remember when Reagan called Russia the evil empire, took hell for that when he said tear down this wall, which some of his staff tried to take out of it, and some of his staff kept it in there. Dana Rohrabacher in particular, former congressman. Yes, very bold, but also true. Mm-hmm. And he had the biggest microphone possible, even though it was muted, as you said. He said to the world, this is simple stuff. Stop funding the Russian war. The first thing England did in its wars with us, two of them, was cut off trade with us. The first thing England and France did in all their wars, and there were many, was cut off trade with each other. Why is Europe, who has a war among its own, funding one side and the other side? That's idiotic. So yes, bold but accurate.
What do you think of President Trump's 180-degree turn relative to Ukraine?
It's funny. I was listening to the Secretary General of NATO saying he didn't see it as a 180, which is interesting, but and meaningful. But at the end of the day, it's in part an admission that his diplomacy isn't working, but it is also saying, okay, Russia, if this is the way you're going to be, Putin, then I'll start funding the other side, give them the material they need in exchange for them buying oil from us, and you'll lose that way. I think it's a necessary pivot.
Do you think he'll follow through with sanctions on India, China, not mention the pressure that he's already put on Europe to stop buying oil, but he's got to extend that over to China and India as well. Do you think he will?
Yeah, I'm troubled by India. India's long-term future. Look, the two biggest markets in the world, theoretically, are India and China. India, the biggest. So, and they're neighbors geographically. So they're sort of playing both sides here. They can't keep doing that. They need the American market, and they would be really hurt by extended tariffs. So I expect Trump to play hardball with India. China is like Iran. They'll shake your hand and break the deal the next minute. And he's got to play hardball with them. And there's really no two ways about that.
In the meantime, back to Russia and Putin. It is kind of interesting that they haven't won this war. Their military.
Well, it turns out, Perry, that communism isn't good at fighting wars either.
Yeah, I mean,
who knew?
But granted, I mean, there's a lot of deaths going on, and that's obviously the key motive behind the president's wanting to end this, and I get that, and we should. But when you look at the unsophistication of the Russian military on the ground, you got to shake your head and say, are you really a paper tiger? Why haven't you completed the job here?
It is in part communism. They've run out of weapons. They replace them with troops, with North Korean troops, Chinese weapons, or Iranian weapons, on and on and on. They are, in a sense, a paper tiger. This gives great comfort to Finland and the other NATO countries about how weak they are, right? Meaning Russia. So there's no fear in their mind that Russia's going to move and start a war with NATO. But nevertheless, they can draw this thing out. It's almost turned into a World War I trench battle with very little movement and just lobbing bombs across from each other.
Yeah.
But yes, communism is a failure in many regards.
All right, I want to switch topics on you, get your feel. Not only Charlie Kirk being assassinated, but his memorial was stunning. 4.5 hours, 100,000 in the building, 20,000 got turned. 20,000 went to a building next door. 80,000 got turned away, and then the analytics come in. 100 million watched it worldwide, and the gospel was clearly preached, loud and clear by people that we never thought would speak as clear as they did. I think one of the most stunning moments, and you've made mention, was Secretary of State Marco Rubio and what he had to say. It was stunning. What's your take?
You and I are old enough. We were alive when Nixon spoke about the silent majority.
Mm-hmm.
I think what you saw was the silent morality. And what I mean by that is it turns out that most people, humble in their lives, go about their lives and really are more religious, faithful, and caring than you might know in the general media. Remember, throughout all of history, the media is far more, whatever word you want to throw on it, progressive, whatever it is. Writers throughout history were more racy than the average lived lives of families. And I think you saw that on display. You saw the silent majority that really does retain these beliefs. And they need to be jump-started every once in a while. There's little doubt, and I cover this in the lessons of the American civilization, that a rich, comfortable society begins worrying less about the afterlife and enjoying too much of the current life. That's always been true in history. And what you saw, I think this jump-started people back into not that they didn't know some of these things before, although clearly some didn't, and they're starting to open up to it. But I think every once in a while you need to be awakened. And I thought, and this was a revival, an awakening again of deep thoughts.
It was said yesterday the left's greatest fear now is a result of that, where Charlie attracted a lot of young men to come into conservatism and, quite frankly, into the church. Now that his wife is CEO of the ministry, that she most likely will draw a lot of young women in as well, which is more fearful for the left. I don't know if that's the case, but reading an article that I had this morning, that it looks like their goal by the end of next year will be to have an American club, this is, I'm talking about Turning Point America, Turning Point USA, in every high school and college campus in the United States.
It's a great goal. In history, humans prefer structure over anarchy. They prefer direction over confusion, and they prefer hope over fear. And so once things get too out of control, the analogy I use is you're standing in a smoke-filled room. Do you, do you listen to the guy complaining about who set the fire, or do you listen to the person who says, I know the way out? And socialism has no way out. It has no hope. It feeds off destruction and not necessarily anarchy, but disarray. And so this is one of those moments where people are gravitate towards meaning and structure and a path versus what looks like on national TV night to night as a lack of all of those things.
Gosh, that's so beautifully said. All right, let me take a quick break. Let me show our viewers and listeners check out Tom's latest book. Like I said, it's a history book. It's a manual. It's called Lessons of the American Civilization. There's a picture of the cover on the screen there. Also, check out his website, tomdell.com. And we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Put your gold in an envelope, mail it. Hopefully you get a check. Nah. Father and son jewelry, bring your gold in, we weigh it, we check it, we make you the offer.
Or turn your something old into something new. Whether it's an idea, a picture, or a piece you want to duplicate, we can melt it down and make it for you.
If you find your perfect piece in store, trade your something old for something new, and you always get a little extra.
Visit Father and Son Jewelry, 5 generations of family in Medford. Have you seen Mornings on the Dove?
Iran did attack Israel yesterday, and that has escalated. This is the cost of freedom and liberation. It doesn't minimize the pain and the suffering here and the death.
G7 is interested in monitoring their program. Trump says, we're way past that.
Yeah.
We're eliminating it.
Dads have power in their words.
Wake up to information. Mornings on the Dove, weekdays.
Every day in Southern Oregon, lives are shaken by poverty, violence, and hardship. Last year alone, the Salvation Army reached more than 11,000 people in Jackson County with food, shelter, and critical support. Behind every meal served, every family housed, and every life restored, there's a volunteer making it happen. Please join us. There are many ways you can volunteer and make a difference in someone's life today. The Salvation Army doing the most good together. This message made possible by the Oregon Health Authority Hospital Base Intervention Grant.
You feel most alive where you feel most at home. And this is living. Bobcat, the company that changed the way the world works, is coming home with a quality compact tractor built to match your quality of life. This isn't work you have to do. It's work you get to do. So get it done in a tractor that's all you. See your dealer or visit bobcat.com.
Welcome back. Always really an honor to have with us Tom Del Vaccaro. He's the author of the book called The Lessons of the American Civilization. Tom, where can they get that? Are you there, Tom? Hello?
They can go to tomdell.com, or they could go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble.
Okay, good. All right, check it out. It's called The Lessons of the American Civilization. Again, thank you for your time, friend. A couple of quick things before we run out of time. We're heading to a potential government shutdown. I had a congressman on yesterday. The House has passed it. They're looking basically for another 45 days to kind of clean up the CR so that they can get this thing moving. And it has a lot to do with, dealing with a little bit smaller budget. Goes over to the Senate. They need 60 votes. Schumer jumping up and down. Probably gets stuck over there. You think they'll shut it down this time?
Yes,
Yeah.
and they should. Look, we need to get serious in this country. Even the last set of CRs, because there's no budget. It's just every couple of months, we'll fund here, we'll fund there. There's no unified budget. The last 11 months, they ran a $2 trillion deficit. We can't keep doing that. And Social Security and Medicare are going to be on the chopping block in about 8 years if we don't stop that. And so people have to make a choice. You want Social Security and Medicare, or paying for those here illegally, or paying for high-speed rail, or on and on and on. And these are going to be hard choices. For decades, we've talked about hard choices to come. Well, the decades have run out. We're actually here. The next president is going to have to deal with saving Social Security and Medicare, because they're going to be in so much trouble. And Republicans should go about stopping it now. And they should not be fearful of doing the right thing, because the left is so far left on so many issues that they shouldn't be fearful about doing the right thing, because they still can win elections by doing the right thing.
Yeah, I think you make a good point. One other question. There's looming possibility former FBI Director James Comey will be indicted. I know that they're up against a statute of limitation clock here. What's your take?
Two things. He's admitted he broke the law with regard to stealing government confidential documentation and leaking it. He admitted it. If you did that, Perry, we wouldn't be having this discussion.
Right.
On the other issue of lying to Congress, it's very clear that he lied to Congress. So he broke the law. He should pay for it. The problem is he did it in Washington, D.C., where it's 98% Democrat. Would he get convicted is the issue. Probably not, because they proved people lying before, and they can't get indicted there. I mean, they can get indicted, but they don't get convicted.
And what about Adam Schiff? He's on this list, but I'm trying to figure out, wasn't he given immunity? I mean, what are they going to do with him?
Well, he was given immunity, but it's not clear it was very sweeping. So the way this gets challenged is you charge him, and then he says, well, here's my immunity. And then that immunity is challenged in court. Did Biden really know that? It's a difficult row to hoe, but that's the process. Of course, Fauci lied repeatedly, was given immunity, but was his the auto pen? So the only way to actually decide how this immunity works is for a defendant to put it up and say, I was given this, and then that is challenged in court.
That makes sense. What do you think of the former vice president's book of confessions, i.e. Kamala Harris?
I have a piece out in Fox today. You can get it at politicalvanguard.com. I think it's an end-all, not a tell-all. Look, she has only herself to blame. She has never been an actual good politician. She's been fortunate. She got Willie Brown to help her out, and he gave her sage advice. And the higher she got, the more she ignored him, to her detriment. She's never worked the voters. When she was in California, you know this, California is two different states. It's north and south. Mm-hmm. The majority's in the south. She never went down there to earn her keep. She didn't make alliances, right? So when she ran for president in 2020, she was polling fourth in California. Fourth. She was losing out to Elizabeth Warren. If she had been polling first and locked up the 490 plus delegates, and they knew that was coming in March, she would have been taken seriously in Iowa. I was the first in the country to say she wouldn't even enter Iowa, and she didn't. And at the end of the day, her biggest problem is that she's not good at politics. And she has nothing but herself to blame, and this is a swan song, not a phoenix.
Good. Governor Newsom, obviously he's running for president. There's no question about that. But is he electable?
You know, it's interesting. On my podcast, Politics in Perspective, I had a long time California journalist, Carla Marinucci, who is on the left. And we had a lively discussion. People get it at politicalvanguard.com. And she doesn't think so. She thinks he has put himself too far to come back to the electorate that exists today. I think he's got 50-50. He's leading in the polls now among Democrats. The question is, has he peaked too early? He may have, but I think he's been he may get the nomination 50-50, but he's too far left at this stage to come back. In addition to California being horrifically run and everything wrong with it that you can imagine.
Yeah, I just can't imagine that's not going to be thrown up in his face wherever he goes.
And again, Perry, I bet 50 cents on Joe Namath when they were 17 and 19-point underdog, and I took no points, and they won. So if you're one of two people in the ring.
Are you a Yankee fan too?
By the way, that was the last bet I won. I just want to point that out.
Wow. All right. So let's come back to something. I've got about a minute here. You got electionfairness.com. You got Prop 50 coming up. So we're on a lot of stations down through your area there. Tell us how important this is.
It's everything. Of course, if George Soros and AOC are for it, you should be against it. And we have to get out the vote. There's a lot of voters, believe it or not, in California that don't know this is happening. So that's why you got to, electionfairness.com, join our effort, get the information out, help us contact other voters. But look, their only hope is to take back the House and start impeaching Trump and God knows what else. You saw Hakeem Jeffries say he's going to go after anyone who helped Trump. Unbelievable. That's what they are. So this next election is very important, and stopping Prop 50 is at the height of that.
So people understand Prop 50 is bringing your reapportionment or your redistricting issue up for reconsideration of how you manage it. Normally it would happen down the road, but they brought it forward because Governor Newsom's ticked off at what happened in Texas.
Yes, for only 3 election cycles. I mean, how blatantly political. So we have a constitutional process, an independent commission. He wants to take away their job for the next 3 cycles, grossly gerrymandered California such that Del Norte and Modoc and Trinity, counties next to Oregon, are in the same congressional district as San Francisco. How ridiculous is that? And so he's just doing this to see if he can become president and be a fighter. He doesn't give a darn about Californians, and this would really hurt the state. So that's what this is about.
All right. Hey, Tom, thank you, buddy. I really...
Always good to see you.
Thank you. You always give us the time. You have much to say. Let me serve viewers and listeners a couple places. Go to tomdale.com. That's his website. Get a copy of his book, Lessons for the American Civilization. You can go online and get that book. And then if you are in California, and all our friends down there, go to electionfairness.com and get involved in this and make people aware of Prop 50 coming up on your ballot here in a couple of weeks. This is very, very important. Thank you, Tom. God bless you, pal. Stay in the fight.
All right. Take care. See you soon.
Black Flag Armory offers top brand affordable rifles, shotguns, handguns, and gear. We also offer an array of classes emphasizing safety, self-defense, and accuracy. We strive to provide the absolute best possible experience when buying a firearm. Family friendly for every skill level, Black Flag Armory in Midford and Grants Pass. Online at blackflagarms.com or 541-499-0779. 541-499-0779.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian owned and operated, pet friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site 24/7 in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Have you seen Mornings on the Dove?
He was hired by the previous governor and the current governor. If he was pro-Trump, this would be all over the news.
Are covering their face now because they're being doxxed by the left, and they take pictures of the agents. You know, we talk a lot about AI technology.
It won't be long that Jerry and I can sleep in the show. You're going to see a couple of guys much younger.
Wake up to information. Mornings on the Dove, weekdays.
Well, welcome back, and it's been a while since we've had Jim Burling on. Jim is Pacific Legal Foundation Vice President of Legal Affairs. He's the author of a fascinating book. I do want to talk to him a little about this. Nowhere to Live, The Hidden Story of the American Housing Crisis. Check that out. That is a website, too. nowheretolive.org is the website. There's a picture of the cover of the book. He's done his homework there, and it has a lot to do with the American dream of owning your own home. Here it is, nowheretolive.org. And then, of course, Jim's professional website is pacificlegal.org. And I can't say enough about this organization. They are out there doing the people's work, and they're frontline warriors. So check it out, pacificlegal.org, and support them. Hey, Jim, good to see you, buddy. How are you?
Hey, great to be with you again.
Thank you. All right, the Supreme Court. You know that little big building over there? Anyway, I guess it's agreed to hear Trump versus Slaughter. Explain the case and what's happening.
So Trump versus Slaughter deals with a woman who is one of the directors of the Federal Trade Commission, and President Trump decided to fire her. And that issue is going up before the court. Now, the key here is to understand that the President of the United States is the head of the executive branch. And the question is, how much power does the head of the executive branch, that is the president, have to run the executive branch by hiring and firing people that are in the executive branch that supposedly work for him? There is a case out of 1935 called Humphrey's Executor that said for so-called independent agencies that the president only had limited authority to hire and fire people in the agency. He could only fire them for certain cause, for certain bad things they did, not because he wanted to have the agency go in a new direction. So whether or not you believe that it's a good idea to have independent agencies, the fundamental question is, does the Constitution allow for agencies that are basically beyond the power of the president to control? Can the executive branch be sort of controlled by the Congress and or the president, or in some cases, because they're so independent, by nobody at all? And there may or may not be good policy reasons why agencies should be free from political interference, either from the president or Congress, but that's not necessarily the way that the Constitution is set up, where the Constitution says there shall be 3 branches of government: the judicial branch, the legislative branch, and the executive branch of the president. And they each have their own independent powers. and that they can control one another. There are checks and balances, but the question is, how strong are those checks and balances? And especially the question we have now is the administrative agencies are becoming so powerful, so free from any kind of control by either the president or Congress. Is it time to rein that in? In this case, Trump versus Rebecca Slaughter, may be a case that begins to better define the boundaries between the various branches of government.
Wow. All right. Attorney Jim Burling, what do you think?
I think that the court is going to find that Humphrey's executor was wrongly decided in 1935. That was the height of the New Deal era, where the idea was that we were going to basically rewrite our constitutional framework and give federal agencies, the experts in running the federal government, much more control and independence. And I think that we've seen over the last 90 years since the Humphreys executor case is decided that the agencies have too much power and are controlling our lives in ways that were never anticipated by the founders of the Constitution when it was drafted. So I think that Humphrey's executor has on limited life support. There were a couple of cases last year where the court with different agencies basically cut back the reach of Humphrey's executor dramatically. And I think with Trump versus Slaughter, that's going to cut it back entirely.
At the end of the day, the fundamental issue here is that the citizens of this country elect a president based upon his ideological position on things. And if he is strapped by agencies that don't allow him to carry it out, then what point is an election?
I mean, there are cases that I've seen in the courts where the president tries to do something and then is immediately sued, and it takes years and years and years for the lawsuits to wend their way through. And by that time, the president is long gone because somebody else has come in his place. So if people don't like what the president is doing, they have an option every 4 years to have a new party in as president. Not necessarily for administrative agencies that have apparently an eternal lifetime to do whatever they want, and with really no constraints. I once talked to a attorney I knew that worked for one of the big federal agencies dealing with wetlands, and he said, when President Reagan came in, we just burrowed deeply into the woodwork. We were kind of quiet. And then immediately we started doing our own thing. We're just pretty much ignored what the president, in that case, Reagan, wanted. And we continued in our merry old way. And that's the attitude that a lot of administrative agencies have. Mm-hmm. We're the experts and we're in charge. And we really don't care what the American people do in the election because we know better than them.
Yeah.
And when people start thinking that they know better than anybody else, then we're in trouble if those people are in charge of us.
Yeah, well said. There's another case that the Supreme Court, I guess under emergency conditions, has decided to take, and that was the whole issue with the president's tariffs. And I guess those arguments are set for, what, November?
November, that's right.
So what do you think about that one, Jim?
So the president, we have to go back to the Constitution. Article 1, Section 8, says that the Congress shall have power to lay and impose imports. Let me give you the exact language. Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, to pay debts, etc. So Congress is the one given the power to have lay tariffs. Now, Congress did give some power to the president under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to do certain things to prevent the importation of dangerous materials and goods, for example. But the International Emergency Economic Powers Act does not talk about the president having the power to lay tariffs, certainly not to the extent that he has now. So we had a decision out of the Federal Court of Appeal in the D.C. Circuit, a 7-4 decision, saying that Trump lacked the power to impose these tariffs unilaterally because it did not meet either the conditions of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, and it didn't really qualify as the emergency in the sense of the importation of dangerous goods or materials, things that are potentially cause poisons and diseases and that kind of thing. So the case is going to be a close one when it gets decided by the Supreme Court, because some justices may think that we should give the president discretion to decide tariffs for himself. Others think that no, the powers that were given to Congress to lay tariffs are for Congress to lay tariffs, and the delegation of that power to the president must be limited by standard principles of delegation. And the president may be able to lay some tariffs, but it has to be strictly in accordance with the statute, not a very creative reading of the statute that I think a lot of people are suggesting that President Trump is undergoing with his imposition of tariffs now.
So the issue of him using the economy as an emergency condition doesn't carry a lot of weight?
It's an unusual and novel interpretation of the statute. It never before has been interpreted that way. Looking at the language of the statute, it doesn't seem to be that an economic condition is the sort of emergency we're talking about. And you have to also ask, what kind of emergency are we really in? The economy is humming along nicely. We do have certainly issues with balance of payments, but is that an emergency, or is that something that's been a slow and gradual issue? And so I think the court's going to wrestle with what qualifies as an emergency and what is the normal course of the economy with its usual ups and downs.
So the response of the economy turning around now as a result of these tariffs is not a consideration?
Well, it very well might be. And the question is the economy really turning around? And more importantly, is this something that the Supreme Court should decide whether the economy is turning around or not? So the question is whether there is an emergency, and the court may be reluctant to decide that. This was a 7-4 decision. It wasn't unanimous by any stretch of the imagination. It was fairly close. And I think it's going to be very close to the Supreme Court, because I think some members of the court are going to be reluctant to try to determine what is and what is not an emergency, would prefer to defer to the president. Others may look at the Constitution and say, that is a power given to Congress and the delegation has to be limited. So I think it's going to be a close call.
Yeah. I can't even imagine the pressure that they're going to be under if they reverse this. And I'm not playing attorney. I'm just thinking out loud. It's already been talked about that if the president has to pull these things back and refund the money, so to speak, it would be economically catastrophic.
I mean, certainly the president has made that argument, and the arguments to the court that have been, the things that have been filed so far, the briefs that have been filed so far, they're talking about the serious economic impact. I think that the words were rather strong that the court used, but I think it is part of the issue that's going on here is that the president imposed these tariffs, and if he did not have the authority to do it, how do we unwind this without causing greater problems? And I think that's something that the court's going to be looking at as well, because unwinding what has been done can sometimes be more harmful than what has been done if you assume that what has been done is problematic. Unwinding a lot of tariffs and a lot of collection of money from a lot of individual people, how you actually undo that is a kind of a logistical nightmare, if you will. But if that's what the Constitution calls for, then the Supreme Court may very well say, President, you got us into this mess, you get us out.
Is it possible they could just defer it back to Congress and say, clean it up?
It is possible, but it's going to be difficult to do that because Congress, of course, doesn't do much as far as taking over and doing legislation to correct its prior mistakes. And yes, Congress could pass a statute making it more clear that the president does or does not have authority to impose tariffs in a circumstance like this. But frankly, I don't think anything is going to get out of Congress at the present time because we have the requirement of a supermajority in the Senate for major bills to be passed that are not reconciliation bills. And so I think that it's going to have to be up to the president to figure out a way to unwind this if that's what the court says. Or the court might say, we're going to get rid of the tariffs now, but it's not going to be retroactive. It's only going to be from this point forward. And that's what the court does in some other circumstances where unwinding things is just too difficult and too burdensome.
That was my next question. All right, let me take a quick break. The PacificLegal.org, that's Jim's website, the organization that he is the Vice President of Legal Affairs. These are frontline lawyers doing our work, so check it out and support them. And check out Jim's book. We're going to talk about it briefly when we come back, and that's Nowhere to Live, The Hidden Story of American Housing Crises, nowheretolive.org. We'll be right back.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life? Now's the time to call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, this is Ed, co-owner of Visiting Angels. To continue to serve our seniors, we need more caregivers with a heart to serve. Our mission statement is honoring the art of giving, which means we honor you, the caregiver. We know it's our people that make Visiting Angels the best in-home care provider and a great place to work. Come be our next amazing caregiver. Give us a call or apply online. At Visiting Angels, we're committed to you because we honor the art of giving.
Every day in Southern Oregon, lives are shaken by poverty, violence, and hardship. Last year alone, the Salvation Army reached more than 11,000 people in Jackson County with food, shelter, and critical support. Behind every meal served, every family housed, and every life restored, there's a volunteer making it happen. Please join us. There are many ways you can volunteer and make a difference in someone's life today. The Salvation Army doing the most good together. This message made possible by the Oregon Health Authority Hospital-Based Intervention Grant.
Co-op, where big ideas grow.
All right, always an honor to have with us Jim Burling. Jim is Pacific Legal Foundation Vice President of Legal Affairs. His book is called Nowhere to Live, The Hidden Story of the American Housing Crises. There's a picture of the cover of the book. That also has a website. It's called nowheretolive.org. There's a picture of that landing page. And then Jim's professional website is pacificlegal.org. And Jim and his team, they're just top-notch and taking on cases for us. So check it out, support them. Jim, so much to talk about. I do want to get to your book, but quickly, Justice Amy Coney Barrett's new memoir offers kind of a rare look inside her brain. What'd you think?
I think it's I think it's a really good book for people that are not intimately familiar with how the Supreme Court works. She talks about how the clerk system works, how it takes up cases, how they decide cases, how they have the details. And it's written in a very easy way to understand. It's not written like one of her law review articles or a Supreme Court decision. So I would recommend it to anybody who wants to learn more about the court. And as you said, she also talked about some of the difficult decisions that have come before her with their rather limited but important time on the court.
All right. A couple other quick questions. The president's being challenged on the deployment of the National Guard that's been kind of bounced around. Do you think it gets all the way to the top court for a decision?
Oh, I think it definitely will. I think that other states are going to have lawsuits. So the one that is probably going to go up first is Judge Breyer, who is the brother of former Supreme Court Justice Breyer. He ruled that the sending of troops to Los Angeles violated the Posse Comitatus Act of 1878. So you have to go back a little bit in history and realize that after the Civil War, Union troops were sent down to the South in order to enforce the victory that the Union had over the Confederate States. And by and large, that worked well, but there were certainly times when the Union troops were a little aggressive, if you will, in their enforcement of the law. And as the power of the South reclaimed, they became resentful of the Union troops. So they passed the Posse Comitatus Act in 1878, essentially saying federal troops shall not be involved in law enforcement. They shall be involved in emergencies, civil disorder, unrest, things of that nature, major problems. But from day-to-day law enforcement, no. And so Justice Breyer, in a case brought by a variety of states and others, ruled that the Posse Comitatus Act prohibits President Trump from sending troops to Los Angeles for ordinary law enforcement purposes. That is, some of the things that were being done was making arrests and helping the local police to arrest many miles from Los Angeles. Now, Justice Breyer said that the troops could be used to guard federal property, federal buildings, but not involved in general law enforcement. Now, the president said that maybe under the Insurrection Act of 1807, that we have the troops have certain powers, but it doesn't seem that there was an insurrection going on with a protest over the ICE enforcement. So Judge Breyer found that the president violated the act. And but that applies only to California. Now we have other lawsuits that are pending in other cities. And if President Trump sends troops to Boston, for example, or to Illinois, where they're not wanted by the governors in those states, then we very may have other challenges to the president's actions under the Posse Comitatus Act. And I think that they are eventually going to get up to the Supreme Court because it's a very important issue, the relationship between the federal government and local law enforcement. And that's what we're going to see the Supreme Court decide.
Okay, so you have what you call the California National Guard, you have the Oregon National Guard, you got the Illinois National Guard, but the word national's in there.
The word national is in there, but they are not federal troops per se.
Yeah.
They are federal troops that have some control of the governor. So it's a complicated relationship between the governor and the National Guard. But in most instances, the National Guard does not have the authority to engage in regular law enforcement activities unless Congress authorizes it, because, according to Judge Breyer, Congress prohibited that with the Posse Comitatus Act of 1878. Even though they are National Guard, they're limited in what they can do. Congress was very concerned back in 1878 that we did not have federal troops being perpetual law enforcement officers in basically impinging on the rights of the states, especially the southern states, for better or worse. We know that a lot of bad things were happening in the South at the time. The rise of the Ku Klux Klan and other problems. But Congress wanted to have some limits on what the federal government could do. And the question is, moving forward, over a century later, 150 years later or so, what is the extent of Congress's ability to have a law that limits the federal guard, the National Guard, the federal troops from engaged in law enforcement activities? So I think it's going to be an important question for the Supreme Court to take on.
Do you think ICE will be thrown into this?
I think ICE is separate. ICE is the immigration enforcement. It has authority to do what it's been doing. So the reason why President Trump justified putting troops into Los Angeles was the demonstrations against ICE. Now, it may well be that those demonstrations were violent and needed to be put down, but were they so violent that they were an insurrection, that the Insurrection Act would have allowed the exception to the Posse Comitatus Act? I think that's something that the court is going to have to decide. But ICE enforcement itself is not at issue here.
Okay, so out-of-control crime and murder is not insurrection.
out of control crime and murder is out of control crime and murder. But is it insurrection, which is people trying to overthrow government, is the general definition of that? Probably not. I mean, I can certainly sympathize with President Trump wanting to reimpose law and order on cities where the local governments and state governments have basically given criminals a free hand to operate the way they want. We have no bail hearings. We have people going in and out of the courthouse door like a revolving door. And it's truly problematic. If I lived in one of these big cities, I would want more law enforcement myself. And certainly as opposed to the defund the police movement that some of the progressives are proposing, which is, I think, quite frankly, rather insane.
Yeah.
Be that as it may, there are limits on what the president can do, even if there is a awful situation in the cities. Yeah. Whether it's an insurrection or not, that's really it's hard to really call what's going on with high crime to be an insurrection.
Okay, interesting stuff. So I guess we wait till November 1st on the tariff thing and see how some of these others work their way up through the system. I want to come back to your book and your passion about what's happening to the hidden story of the American housing crises, and it just looks like the American dream is out of reach, and that is owning your own home. How would you encapsulate your book?
The American dream is increasingly out of reach for more and more Americans because housing is getting far too expensive. Why? Because we're not building enough homes to meet supply. Supply and demand is a law of economics that cannot be overturned by the California legislature. You can't overturn it in Venezuela, North Korea, or any socialist country. It doesn't work. You have to have supply of new housing in order to have reasonable prices. In cities where they have allowed more apartments and homes to be built, prices are generally moderate. In places like California, where it's almost impossible in some areas to build new homes, prices have just gone through the roof. As a result, people in California are leaving for states like Tennessee, Florida, Texas, and we're bringing our problems with us to those states. So the bottom line of my book is that we've had a long history of interfering with the housing market, making it more and more difficult to build homes, whether it's excessive zoning, whether it's excessive environmental regulation and litigation, whether it's the destruction of inner city neighborhoods through eminent domain and redevelopment projects, and a whole panoply of other things that government has interfered in the housing market to make it more and more difficult to build the supply that we need to meet the demand, which is the only way we're going to, in the long term, ameliorate the high housing costs that we have today.
All right. The book is entitled Nowhere to Live, The Hidden Story of America's Housing Crises. There's a picture of the cover of the book that has its own website. It's called nowheretolive.org. There's a picture of that landing page. And, of course, go to pacificlegal.org. You can keep track of all the things that Jim and his team are a part of. And they've argued quite a few cases before the big court. And support them, pacificlegal.org. Jim, you're fascinating. Thank you, friend. Thanks for your time. We always value it. Stay in the fight. We need you there, buddy.
Perry, it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you. See you soon.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information